So we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Let's get this John 5 and 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another and receive not the honor that comes from Elohim only? I think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. If had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 29. We will use Proverbs 10 and 29 this day to be able to maintain what we're here for and what we've been doing, which is looking at all these idols. And today we're going to hit those that were mentioned in the book of Kings and the nigga I told you about, Marmaduke, which that's not how you pronounce it, but who's mentioned in the book of Jeremiah, and the things that are associated with these individuals. You know what I'm saying? Have any of y'all ever heard of the term of someone being called a polytheist? Are any of y'all familiar with that term? You heard before? A polytheist. Who is not familiar with what a polytheist is? A polytheist is a person who believes in multiple deities. A monotheist is someone who believes in one deity. And I think it's another one, but the term escapes me at this present time. So there's people who believe that based off the Ugaritic text, which is a text that written in the land of Canaan, because there's a proliferation of quote unquote scholars, if you will, who believe that the scriptures are nothing but a Canaanite book of mythology that is an extension of the Ugaritic text, and that a lot of times that it was a pantheon of deities, with Yahuah being the chief deity of them all. It's a true story. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see if Yahuah. But see, the difference is though, and I think a dude read that stuff, and then what it is, and one of the deities we're gonna look at, because one of them is the deity of the clouds. So they take certain statements that Yah make in the text and say, see, this is Yah right here. He's the one who did this and he did that, and they don't really look at the what's the word I want to look for? Perversities of these individual deities. Where we just read last night that Yah said the type of time these niggas was on, that stuff didn't even come in his heart. You know what I'm saying? These niggas do weird stuff, man. They like to do things that aren't me, just if you will. But Proverbs 10 and 29 says the way of Yahuah is strength to the upright, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. So we already know that the word for way is the rock. You know what I'm saying? But we know that's the way to the highest that's going to cover sins. When we look at upright, we have that shortened word for perfection, which is Tom. We have innocence, integrity, and completeness. So the way of Yahuah is strength to those who are complete or who hold integrity. But we know that destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. So let's take a look at Matthew chapter 7, just on general principle. And that word for destruction, is, of course, is Makita, and it's something that also says it's an object of terror or dismay. So we'll also look at those things. But let's get to Matthew 7 and 19, I want to say, out the way. We pick it up in Matthew 7 and 15. It says, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bring forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bring forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. And we done talked about this before, and we done mentioned it again. I don't care how much you might like somebody. I don't care how much they spit that book. If they evil, ain't no good fruit coming up out that individual. That means ain't no long suffering, no self-control, no shalom, no meekness, no faith, no joy, no none of that. I don't know if y'all looked at that video that I shared with y'all. You know, that was just on Monday when dude ran up on Kirk Franklin. I ain't even realized that nigga was here and gone. You gotta put it, white dude was standing outside the Florida Theater preaching and calling out Kirk Franklin for being a hypocrite, which is a true story. You know what I'm saying? And Kirk Franklin decided to come out to Florida Theater, and he rebuked him sharply, straight to his face. You know what I'm talking about? And then when Kirk Franklin went to shake his hand, that Christ said, "I will not shake your hand." He said, "Why will you not shake my hand?" Because he said, "If I do, then I'll be a partaker of your evil deeds. So I will not shake your hand." You know what I'm saying? Told him straight up what First John said, which he went a little bit further with it because he said, "Don't bid them Godspeed." You know what I'm saying? Don't say God be with you. He said, when you do this, you are a partaker of their evil deeds because you're not supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who it is. If somebody come to you, "Yeah, bro, I'm gonna go smash these hoes, God be with you," you might as well went and did it with him. I'm just using that as an extreme, but it wouldn't be no different if you was like, "God be with you on this good Christmas." You're a partaker of that deed. You might as well go on and get you some gifts from up under the tree too. See, Yahuah don't roll like that. See, that's how our minds work. But Yahuah don't fool with nobody who is contrary to him. And that's in his law. He said if you walk contrary to him, he will walk contrary to you. He will not fool with you in any shape, form, or capacity because you are diametrically opposed to who he is, and he don't roll that way. Human beings roll that way. He don't roll that way. You know what I'm saying? He ain't stamping what you're doing, and he ain't going to approve of it. Some people were offended because they felt like Buddy did not bring the truth with love. But he told them the truth. How you going to go on the BET Awards and not mention the Lord nan time? How would you not tell any of these people to repent? You know what I'm saying? You just standing out there with your nephew suit on, dancing around because you're a friend of the world. You're a friend of the world. He said, you know it's incorrect. But nothing that he told Kirk Franklin. There it is. I already knew that was going to happen. The things that he told Kirk Franklin were not incorrect. Most people are not used to someone who will rebuke someone sharply. See, the book tells you to rebuke sharply those who are out of order. You know what I'm saying? So if you know that he's out of order, see, people want you to patty cake with him. Really, do you want somebody? People are concerned with your feelings because you're led by your emotions. So when you're led by your emotions, you're not going to tell the truth. Part of that is, at least in this country, the feminization of a whole entire group of people. Because women are the only people who are concerned about their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Men ain't supposed to be concerned about their feelings. If it's something that has to be conveyed, then it has to be conveyed. A brother that I know made the point of, he was like, he's had his sins and transgressions laid bare, and he ain't cool with that. My point was, and I understood where he was coming from, because some people can't handle the fact of being rebuked publicly. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, Hamashiach was put to an open shame publicly, and he didn't do anything wrong. So if he can be put to an open shame publicly, then I certainly should be able to take one myself if I'm in the wrong. You have to be able to take that. You can't tell me you roll with somebody who's put to an open shame and he did absolutely nothing, and then you concerned how you see how he felt as far as the flesh was concerned. He was like, if it's possible, let this cup pass. You know what I'm talking about? Like, man, I don't want nothing to do with this here, but nevertheless, not my will, but your will. Everybody can't take that. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny though, because niggas go to court and take an open rebuke all the time. You'll be ready to use that court system to rebuke somebody if you had to, in whatever fashion you would choose to use it. If somebody killed your people, you would want him to be openly rebuked and put the shame in that court system when they go on the trial, right or wrong. You ain't gonna have no problem with it. You're gonna be like, this here, he deserves 40 years, he deserves life. You're gonna be there every court appearance. You're gonna be reading the victim's impact statement. When the people come on the news, if your case got a profile, they shove a microphone in your face, you're gonna be ready to say, he's hurt my family, we want closure. All that. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the reverse side of you being held accountable that didn't really sin against nobody other than Yahuah, because he told you, remember, he told you it's only one sin that you can commit that's a sin against yourself, and that's fornication. You know what I'm saying? See, adultery don't count because at that one you done also offended against your spouse. You know what I'm talking about? But everything else, you either sin against a man or you sin against Elohim. Now, fornication, you sin against Elohim, but that's a sin you do to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that man don't rock with that. Just I seen a preacher earlier, he a Christian preacher. I said, y'all niggas scared. Niggas say y'all faggots, maggots. I died. But that junk was funny because he told the truth. You won't have too many dudes come out here and say, no, nigga, we don't roll with no punks. Then you got 5-6-year-old kids that are confused, talking about they want to be a little girl. That little boy didn't grow up and want to be a little girl. Y'all put that in his head. You put it in his head. You know what I'm saying? You're bombarding them with that information. That's why I told you it's our job. You have to protect your children because the world out to get them. And you definitely have to have a close monitor for any of the children that go to any school that's not run by somebody who looks like you with a curriculum set by what you go by to know exactly what them crackers teaching your children. You know what I'm talking about? To know 100, you cannot trust the United States government in any capacity to impart any information of truth and righteousness to your children. And if you believe that, then you have fooled yourself. I knew that before I got in the word. You can't send your children to your oppressor and then shock when they come home stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's why we sit around and people say the schools need to teach you how to balance a checkbook. They need to teach you how to do that. At that point, you have publicly acknowledged that you see the government as your children's parent because you're asking them to do what you should be doing. That's not the government's job to raise your children. You know what I'm saying? But they set it up that way. The minute they set the whole society up, really in 1871, where they incorporated the country and got the women out the household and fragmented communities and brought the whole corporate structure into play, it was set up so where you would look at the government as your husband, as your father, as your mother, and come to them, basically to look at the government as your God. You know what I'm saying? To supply you with your every need, to tell you how to think, to teach you how to raise your kids, you know what I'm saying? And to supply you with every skill that you need. So now that you're no longer sufficient on yourself or those who live around you, you want the government to sustain you. And that ain't cool. Nevertheless, verse 19, every tree that bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore you shall by their fruits shall you know them. Not everyone that say to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of Shamahim, but he that do the will of my Abba, which is in Shamahim. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? And in your name have cast out devils. And in your name done many wonderful works. And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. Now remember, we didn't talk about that before now. A lot of people gonna feel like because you prophesied and you did some works and you cast out some devils, that's all good. But that means absolutely nothing. What we was looking at is he's saying destruction to the workers of iniquity. And it was something in my head for that, and I done forgot what it was. But let's just go ahead and take a trip to it'll come to me in a minute. Oh yeah, Matthew chapter 13. Praise the Lamb. Matthew 13 and 41. And the Son of Man shall send forth, will make it 13 and 39. The enemy that sowed them, well, 38. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sows them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the world, and the reaper is the Malachim. Now hold on, because there's one. How many of y'all have ever heard the statement, the Lord of the Flies? It is a book. Do you know who the Lord of the Flies is? That's Beelzebub. Now look what he said. He said the enemy that sold them is the one. I want you to come over here to what it is. Matthew chapter 10. And then we'll look at him where he in the Old Testament too, because that's where he mentioned that. But ain't that something? These people wrote a book called The Lord of the Flies, and they were telling you about Beelzebub. Now let's see who the words say Beelzebub is like, how Beelzebub lived his life. I gotta make sure I'm in the right spot. I don't think I'm in the right spot. Matter of fact, they make that Mark chapter 3. Mark chapter 3. About verse 20. Mark 3 and 20. Old Beelzebub. I think that's who Baxter Stockman was supposed to be off the Ninja Turtles, was Beelzebub. You don't remember? No. I said Baxter Stockman. Baxter Stockman was the fly dude. He was a scientist, and he got turned into a fly. Yeah, that's probably not in the movie, sir. We watched the cartoon. I have the action figures. 3 and 20. No, I'm talking about in the 80s, sir. Early 90s. You can Google him, Baxter Stockman. Well, I can't call it. I don't remember the cartoon the whole time. And the multitude come together again so that they could not so much as eat bread. And when his friends heard of it, they went to lay hold on him, for they said he is beside himself. And the scribes which came down from Jerusalem, he hath Beelzebub, and by the prince of the devils cast he out devils. And he called unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Hashatan cast out Hashatan? So Beelzebub is known here. They call him as the prince of the devils. But let's see what the book say in the Old Testament, who he is in 2 Kings chapter 1. And then we can read a little bit about Beelzebub and what he had going on. Also, we'll come up with a possibly where the large proliferation of people wanting to eat groceries come from. And if you find out where that come from, you might just be a little bit shocked. Oh, I'm being dead serious. Dead serious. No, I ain't talking about the real deal groceries. We done went over this in the past where the term cereal comes from. The term cereal comes from the goddess Sari. That's where the word cereal comes from. She was the goddess of the grains. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's where that word comes from. See, they slid that in on your smooth mind. Yeah, I mean, it's something we done talk about a few goddesses here and there, gods here and there in the past. But yeah, definitely, that's where cereal come from. Sari, I forgot who Mama she is, or who Mama she's supposed to be. Nevertheless, 2 Kings chapter 1 and 1. It says, Moab rebelled against Yasharal after the death of Ahab. As Uzziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Samaria and was sick, he sent messengers and said unto them, go inquire of Beelzebub, the Elohim of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease. So, as Uzziah say, don't let me holler at y'all. Go holler at the Lord of the Flies. Now, y'all already know where flies hang out at, right? So I don't know why you would want to go get the Lord of the Flies. You know what I'm talking about? They don't gravitate but one particular thing, and that's feces. And that's who he want to call them. He said, but the king of Yahuah said unto Elijah the Tishbite, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto him, is it not because there's not an Elohim in Yasharal that you will go to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore, thus saith Yahuah, you shall not come down from that bed on which you are gone up, but you shall surely die. And Elijah departed. And when the messengers turned back unto him, and he said unto them, why are you now turned back? And they said unto him, there came a man up to meet us and said unto us, go turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, thus saith Yahuah, is it not because there's not an Elohim in Yasharal that you send to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore, you shall not come down on the bed which you are gone up, but you shall surely die. And he said unto them, what manner of man was he which came up to meet you and told you these things? And they answered, he was a hairy man, girt with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said, it's Elijah the Tishbite. He already knew what time it was. And he knew if Elijah was coming, shalom. It wasn't no joke. But as you already heard, you know that Beelzebub or Beelzebul is the god of the Philistines that was worshiping Ekron. And then he ended up becoming a demon amongst our people. So Beelzebub, I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's what he looks like. He's an ugly little character. Oh, man. That's unfortunate. He's definitely a little ugly little character. It's an ugly little man. Yeah, y'all not going to be able to see that with that glare. But he's definitely mentioned, and he's known in demonology as one of the 7 princes of hell. 7 princes of hell. At all. At all. At all. It says his actual names could have been Baal Zebul, the Lord of the heavenly dwelling. So see how they kind of slid Zebulon's name in there with that? Because you know Zebulon means to dwell. Kind of slid his name in there on that. And Baal Zebub was a derogatory pun used by the Israelites. So they would use that to clown, as we should have. They believe that he was originally affixed to Baal, and that's where he got the title prince from. And then, of course, he's mentioned in the Testament of Solomon as the prince of the demons. And then he's associated with the star Hesperus, which is the normal Greek name for the planet Venus. Seemingly, that's right. They'll say that Beelzebub is synonymous with Lucifer because Venus is quote unquote synonymous with Lucifer, depending on who you talk to. Are any of y'all ever familiar with that, Venus being Lucifer? Because I am familiar with that. Indeed. Indeed.
That's why they try to say that. When they say that, it's talking about it. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. Definitely.
About what it's saying, it's saying, and that's what will allow you to outside of the word.
Absolutely. Because you know the word Lucifer or Hiel is only used one time in the text, and it's right there. But who remembers who else's name means the morning star? Because there's somebody else's name mean the morning star. Aaron. You know what I'm saying? But we also have enough sense to know that what righteous, how could you be of the day and be evil? That contradicts Yahuah. Go to 1 John chapter 1 and verse 5 just for that, since I said it. Say what? Oh, 1 John 1 and 5 will take care of it. Yeah, I'm going to say 1 John 1 and 5 going to take care of it. Then I can expound further. That's what I'm saying. Huh? Oh, word. All right, you all right. 1 John 1 and 5. This then is the message which we have heard of him and declare unto you that Elohim is light and in him is no darkness at all. You know what I'm saying? What did Yahushua tell you? He said the light of the world. And if any man walk in him, he know where he going. Whoever's in darkness has no idea where they're going. So how can you be the morning star but be evil? That doesn't make any sense because you would be the day star. And what do stars do? They shine. They give what? Light. Satan don't give no light. Why? Because what did Yahushua say? Ain't no light in him. So that's why Yah was not too thrilled, peeved, if you will, that the king is sitting up talking about go holler at Beelzebub. You gonna go holler at the Lord of the Flies, nigga? So you mean to tell me ain't Elohim and Yasharal? You know about me. I put you in your spot. You know about me. And you going to see about Beelzebub. And see, that's what a lot of us do now. The same token we read about Asa. Who remembers why Asa got killed? We read about it last night. Who remembers why Yah said, let me go ahead and kill him? And he wasn't even an evil dude, so to speak. But he ended that way, though. He ended that way being proud and stubborn. Who remember why Asa met his demise? I'm not Asa. No, that's that was Asa. Well, the second dude. Now I'm meaning Azaziah, because I always get them mixed up. Asa the one, his bowels fell out. That's not the one I'm talking about. Yeah, not him. I ain't mean him. Well, his bowels did fall out. But we read about a king who a dude came and told him, nigga, what you got going on? And he locked him up. And then he died not too long after that. No, the king locked somebody up who came and corrected it. Locked the prophet up. He died not too long after that. And he died for one particular reason. No, this was in Chronicles. The dude died because he was sick, and instead of seeking after Yahuah, he went to holler at the physicians. And he said, you know what? I'm going to get you out of here. Don't even worry about it. No, it was another dude, I think. But I can double check, make sure for accuracy. And that's not to say that you can't go see a physician. It's to say that you ought to inquire after Yahuah before you inquire after anything, which is where most people mess up at. Because what did he tell you? You know, cursed be the man that trust in man. Yeah, it was awesome. It wasn't just he was in two different places. You know what I'm saying? Always he tell you that. Cursed be the man who trusteth in man. Does that mean you can't go see a doctor? No, that don't mean you can't go see a doctor. You can go see a doctor. But if you go see a doctor before you go see Yahuah, then you have a major problem. Because all that's telling you who is you trust in that doctor more than you trust in him. That's always funny to me when I hear people who are doctors and said, I'm a doctor, this, that, there, and the third. And when you look at doctor as somebody who's a healer or a physician of men, but you got to remember, Yahuah said, I'm your healer. He said, and you have destroyed yourself, but your help is in me. And see, we don't really look at that. Especially, it's different if you're not in the word. But if you in the word and the first thing you think about is a man can save you, then you know you probably don't trust in Yah too tough. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, there's some white folks in this country that have literally sat around and said, we're not going to the doctor. We just going to sit and pray. And then everybody dies. And then people mock them for it after they died. You know what I'm saying? But that's their prerogative if that's what they choose to do. I'm not mad at them for it. I may not necessarily take that track. I'm not upset with them if that's what they choose to do. You know what I'm saying? It's some people that say, I'm going to take herbs. I'm not taking no conventional medicine. I'm not mad at them if that's what you choose to do. My frame of mind is it's not my duty to tell you this is what you're going to do. You get all the applicable information and you make the decision after you done consulted with Yah and go from there. If you're married, you need to go holler at your husband, let him go consult with Yah, y'all go from there. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, I can't tell a nigga, get off your medication and take these herbs. Now you die, that's gonna be on my lap. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. Then of course y'all know you got the fake healing y'all see at the little shows, Benny Hinn them like to throw. You know what I'm saying?
There's the people that went to jail, they want their kids to like get cancer treatment.
Yeah, they will lock you up, but you know why they'll lock you up for that? Does anyone in here know why they can lock you up for that? For not taking your children to the doctor for chemo. Like it's certain stuff. Do you know why they lock you up for that? Like if one of your kids got in here, got sick right now, no matter what the ailment was, and you said, I don't want to use conventional medicine, the state can't come lock you up and take your child and give them the medicine. Y'all do know that, right? I hope you didn't think your child was yours. It's for how this governmental system is set up. Because you signed the birth certificate, so you signed over rights to the state. You know what I'm talking about? The minute you sign, why you think they press y'all about signing that birth certificate? They press you about that. You know what I'm talking about? You know what they do with that birth certificate, right? They sell it on the stock exchange. You know why they sell it on the stock exchange? No, but because you're a bond, but more specifically is that stock. See, the stock is the evidence of the purchase or the debt, and you're the collateral for the debt. So if you're going to do something that could put that collateral in risk of dying, then we'll just take it from you because you're making us miss out on money. You know what I'm saying? See, we're not on that. See, we bet that this child will live 50, 60 years, make X amount of dollars. You know what I'm talking about? And we're going to get that back. So if you're around here talking about, I'm going to heal my child. I'm like, I got a healing for you. They're going to come take it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care how you feel about it. I mean, that's just the system that you live in. You ought to be aware and cognizant of that.
There's a religion group called Christian Sciences. They don't believe in medicine.
I haven't heard of them, but I know it's a lot of people who, whether they Christians or not, that don't believe in. Yeah, but if you sign that birth certificate, absolutely. And 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna let you leave up out the hospital without doing it. That's why they tell dudes don't sign a birth certificate. Because once you sign the birth certificate, you have acknowledged that you are the surety of this debt, and that's why you can find out years later that's not your child, and you still got to pay child support because you signed a financial instrument saying I'm responsible for this debt. I mean, shoot, from how I've read it, they try to, well, the initial birth certificate you go pick up, but I know they want you to sign something at the hospital. from what in the financial books and forth was in regards to that when I first learned about it. You know what I'm saying? I learned about it in prison, so I haven't had to sign a birth certificate, so I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? But they definitely want you to get that. Well, I know if you go pick it up, ain't no way for the father to go sign it if you going to pick it up. I know they want his name on that document. You know what I'm saying? Once you sign it, it don't matter if that's your baby or not. You on the hook for that debt. That's why you can't never pay off any debt. Not in this country. That's why you always hear when they talk about they gonna have a tax break, what they describe it as. No, they describe it as a tax credit. You know what I'm saying? Because there is no money. You can't pay off debt when there isn't any money. There's no money in the United States of America. Money does not. That's what, see, and I didn't mention that before. That's one of the reasons why credit is not that big of a deal if you actually know the financial system and you know how to use it to your benefit, which is dangerous because you could get yourself killed or locked up. You know what I'm saying? The whole system is built on credits and debits. There is no money in this society. So when somebody says, hey, I got a 750 credit score, this is somebody who's boasting that I'm a very large debt slave and I'm proud of being a debt slave. And the government loves for you to boast in that because if you got a 750 credit score, you best believe whatever you took out on credit, they hawk that on the stock exchange for probably 10 to 15 times whatever you in debt for. As it was always quoted, I believe it was Henry Ford, might have been George Bush, said that if the United States citizenry knew what the financial system was, there'd be a revolution in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know, you motor around in it. You know, that's why it says that we already talked about it. It's fiat currency, it's monopoly money. That money's not worth anything. You know what I'm saying? So once you have an understanding of that, you move a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than when you get locked up. You don't have to go to jail. It's a money thing, literally. You know what I'm saying? That's why they call it a charge. You know what I'm saying? The judge is a banker. I learned all this in prison. That junk pissed me off. And then when you find that out and you locked up, you realize you don't have to be there because all crimes are commercial. There's no such thing as common law. The only crimes that you're supposed to be locked up for are crimes or injury to another person. Meaning you stole, you beat them, you killed them, you raped them. Outside of that, you're not supposed to be locked up for anything. You know what I'm saying? So when you get locked up and you don't have the money to pay, that's why they send you to prison for you to work off the debt. So debtors' prisons never went away. They just changed it. Y'all all familiar with debtors' prisons. You familiar with debtors' prisons? Well, in Europe, they had something called debtors' prisons. You had a debt and you couldn't pay it, they locked you up. And say if you owed $1,000, you might be incarcerated for 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying? Once they felt like you worked off the debt, then they would let you out. You know what I'm saying? That's what went down during those times. What, to get locked up?
Not basically being locked up, but you got to work out with that.
Now you could become a hired servant, but you wouldn't go to jail. You would just have to work for them for X amount of time. What they were doing is they weren't having you work for the person. They was locking you up and sending you to prison. You know what I'm saying? And God only knows whatever happened to you once you went to prison with a bunch of Anglo-Saxons. You know what I'm saying? But that's what they do. They lock you up. Why do you think they don't kill people on death row so quickly? I've always noticed that. And I didn't realize it until I got to prison and learned the financial system. Which we had already talked about that before. That's why why won't Trump show his tax returns? Tax returns for what? I just seen a dude on my page saying they killed Gaddafi because of this. Nigga, we already know why they killed Gaddafi. Because he was trying to bring gold back. He wanted Libya to have gold as his money. The international bankers not having that. Got him out of there. That's why Lincoln got killed. That's why William McKinley got killed. And that's why Kennedy got killed. You're not going to bring real money in here. Real money crippled the system, makes them obsolete. You know what I'm saying? If you got real money, what you need my fiat currency for? You don't. And guess what happens? Then you can take control of your society. You really look at it, right? We didn't have those problems in our culture because you knew what the money was. It was gold and silver. There was no paper. You know what I'm saying? You had shekels. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you paid with. And we that's us not to charge interest to our own people. We weren't supposed to do all that because that's when it comes in and you're able to exploit and use people. That's why a lot of people are against capitalism as a whole, because they look at it as an exploitative financial system, which to a certain extent it is. But there was elements of capitalism in our culture, because if I kill the deer, then it's up to me by how much I want to give you of it. You know what I'm saying? You're not entitled to half the deer because I killed it and you sitting right there, because that's how a lot of niggas feel. That's why a lot of niggas be like, Jay-Z got $1 billion. He ain't never did nothing for black people. Why do you feel like he's supposed to? Because he black? So you feel like he owe you that? You know what I'm saying? That man technically don't owe you anything. You know what I'm saying? But that's how black people think, that if you got money, you should do this, that, there, and the third. In essence, should you look out for your own people? Absolutely. I would think you say, why ain't no Marcy, no Jay-Z, schools or whatever the nigga said, and Marcy and this, that, there, and the third. I'm like, shoot, why do you expect him to do that? But then at the same time, the nigga who was saying it, this nigga's a pansexual and a strong venerator of the beast. So why would you expect anything less? In the entertainment business, they grab people that have one strong character trait, and that's selfishness. You know what I'm saying? Because if I can get a selfish nigga, then I can use him because he don't care about nobody but himself. And if he don't care about anybody but himself, then he'll have no concern about the destructiveness that he can rain on individuals wherever he goes. Nevertheless, that's enough about Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies.
You ever read that book?
I have not. I never had a desire.
Good read. I ain't never heard of it.
Well, let's take a look at another nigga. Let's go to Judges 8:33. Probably about 8:30. Another variation of Baal. Baal got a lot of variations. Eight and 33. But we'll take it about verse 29. This is about the time when Gideon is about to leave here. Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, went and dwelt in his own house. Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many wives. And his concubine that was in Shechem, she also bare him a son, whose name he called Amalek. And Gideon, the son of Joash, died in a good old age, and was buried in the sepulchre of Joash his father, and Oprah of the Abizarites. I seen the brother was talking about, you seen the video he had about Oprah? Now, he was talking about Oprah, right? He doesn't believe that Oprah is her real name. Now, that Oprah is mentioned in the book of Ruth also. But that what is the name? Who knows the name of Oprah's production company? Harpo. And in the movie, what are they, Color Purple? They call that nigga Harpo. Well, Harpo is an inkling to someone. His name is Hippocrates. You know what I'm saying? Hippocrates is the god of silence. So just like when you see somebody doing this here, when you see a lot of celebrities always doing this here, covering their mouth, because Hippocrates couldn't talk. Yeah, but the dude was saying he don't believe that's her name. It might be. She claimed her name came from the Bible. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I mean, it's a good chance. Oprah was molested as a child. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? No, she was.
Nah, I don't know where that came from, but what made you say that?
Okay, I was going to mention that because a lot of individuals believe that she's an asset under mind control. You know what I'm saying? It's quite possible. She definitely had a meteoric rise, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? Y'all too young to remember, like, nigga, Oprah just came out of nowhere. She's supposed to got fired, I think, working in Tennessee, then went to Baltimore. The next thing you know, she on the Oprah Winfrey Show going head-to-head with Donahue and was the biggest thing since sliced bread. And then after that, y'all already know. Just like everybody, like, Oprah got her own network. She does not. Oprah does not own the own network. Discovery Channel owns the own network. She did not put up her own money and set that up. Somebody else did that. They make you believe that Oprah owns that, but Discovery Channel owns that. You know what I'm saying? But screw Oprah Winfrey with an AIDS-infested penis, because she hates your God with every ounce of her soul. If you've ever heard Oprah talk about anything in these scripts, Oprah despises Yahuah. And then we mentioned earlier, like really, a lot of these people out here are rebellious children who hate their parent because he has a standard and rules of conduct for his house. Yeah, I hope y'all don't think Oprah believe in Yahuah, because she definitely don't. That woman say you call it God, somebody else call it the light. It's many pathways to God. You know what I'm saying? Man, screw Oprah. Went off on her as she should have. You know what I'm saying? And this was before this is for really famous Oprah. This for Oprah touching 100 mil Oprah, and she talking like this. And if you've ever looked at any, you should already know that Oprah full of crap, because she pushed that book, The Secret. I read The Secret in prison. Bunch of mumbo jumbo. You ever read The Secret? You ever heard of it? Who in here done heard of The Secret? Bunch of nonsense. It's akin to the book, The Law of Attraction. I read the whole thing. I can't get that time back. That's it. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because see, we're going to talk about wealth, because we're going to bring in your mans. You know who your man Esau. Because you know that was Satan like. Satan liked that bread. That's what he liked. You know why he liked that bread? Because people do strange things for some change. Niggas drink blood for some money. You'll be surprised. Look here, man. We were jits. Nigga, we hearing about big dope boys sleeping with punks for that sight. Niggas do anything for that bread, man. That's why he say the love of the money is the root of the evil. That's where you get the root at. You love it because you love the things that you could do with it. Nevertheless, he said it came to pass, as soon as Gideon was dead, the children of Yasharal turned again and went a whoring after Balaam and made Baal-berith their god. And the children of Yasharal remembered not Yahuah their Elohim, who had delivered them out of the hands of all their enemies on every side. See, that's just like a bald-headed hoe. Soon as your man leave, you ready to jump on the next nigga. You done forgot everything he done for you. But y'all know what that is? If you see Baal-berith, what y'all think his name means? The Lord or the God of the covenant. That's who they went to make their God. Well, what covenant have you made? What covenant have you made with? That's the question. Well, let's take a look at Isaiah 28. Let's see what covenant they made with. And then we'll read a little bit more about Baal-berith. 28 and 18, 28 and 16. Just make it 14. I ain't got there yet, but 14 sounds better. This is why I always be tripping when people be like, we're such a great people. How? When? You know what I'm saying? If it was 100 million people in Yasharal, then we would probably have to say 5 to 10 million of them were just. You know what I'm saying? Or the rest, for the most part, them niggas was wicked. We're talking about as a whole. As a whole. And that's being generous at 5 million. That's being generous. 10 million is just being optimistic. I'm dead serious, bro. Just from reading that, if you ain't even got out the land, and Yahuah said you a stiff-necked people from the time that I knew you. So if we put it in this aspect, of course he knew him from the foundation of the world. But if you take that from the aspect that I knew you from the time that I told Moses that I'm going to take y'all up out of here, and I ain't even got y'all all the way out the wilderness, my nigga, that ain't even 50 years. 50 years. And they said, well, these niggas here, wow. Come on, man. Moses was up there getting the covenant. And them boys said, we don't know what happened to him, man. Go on, make us this calf. We're going to say that's who brought us up out of Yasharal. That also shows you the instance as well, and what I've been telling you, that you cannot leave a woman to her own devices. Because he left that woman to her own devices, and she caused chaos the minute he was gone. You know what I'm talking about? And as soon as Gideon died and that woman was left to her own devices, they caused chaos as soon as he was gone. That's what I'm sitting back telling you. When I mentioned that, that's why I'm of the perspective of, if you leave a woman to dress herself, she will dress like a slut. You know what I'm saying? Because that will bring her the attention that she craves and desires. It's not even something that you're intrinsically saying, get you a man. She know this will get a nigga to look at me. I may not want to sleep with him, but this is what I'm going to do. Because guess what? If you take the average young woman right now, her daddy said, take them whores' clothes off. What's her natural reaction going to be? To rebel, for the most part. If you take them to on average, not every woman, on average. You know what I'm saying? She's going to rebel. And she gonna dress one way when she come out the house and have her friends with her whole outfit so she can change clothes when she get away from the house. You laughing? You done did that before? Huh? How many of y'all had a whole outfit you stashed somewhere and went and changed clothes when you left the house? That's too much work. It is a lot of work, but it's a lot of bald-headed hoes to do it. You used to do that, Alicia?
I did it before.
I know you did.
That's not a twerker.
A twerker? Derek, you familiar with this information? Oh my word, you were twerking on the internet?
I am.
I'm appalled. I don't understand at all. Where were your parents?
I was wondering, looking at my Facebook post, I was like, hey, I just promote for Christmas because the BNC parties. I was like, hey,
Where were your parents? What was they doing?
I'm probably say words like, but they ain't.
I'm the best of your fault, cuz. Shalom, bro. I already told you that, man. You know, shoot. I had a homegirl who was stripping at 16. Her mama thought she was working at Taco Bell. What? She was stripping at the playground. The playground don't even exist no more. The playground used to be the club. You know where the Subway is? On Main, by the Shell? Across the street, that used to be a strip club called the Playground. Now, the fact knows the Playground was where the Subway was. And then they opened a strip club across the street. And they closed both of them down because niggas was getting their brains busted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, she was stripping at the playground because one time we went, she was like, come up there with me, sit up here with me. I'm like, all right. And all of us went. And when we pulled up to the door, my homeboy Don Shay, I'm not going to imitate his voice because it's hilarious. I can still do it, but I won't do it right now. That nigga walked up to the door, and they were like, nah, we ain't let y'all in. Nigga like, what? That nigga seen that nigga said, y'all can't get in. And I'm like, I ain't know what name, if she was going by a name, so I'm calling her real name. They don't know who I'm talking about. So they wouldn't let us in. And the homeboy like, ain't no hoes out here. We need to go with the hoes at. I'm just mentioning that because I got something for that too. No, he was looking like this nigga's a square. You know what I'm talking about? And she told me later, yeah, they said y'all came. Somebody like this. I'm like, yeah. I say Don Shay was with us. They wouldn't let us in. You know what I'm talking about? Then we went to Magic City, and everyone was pleased because they let us in. In Magic City, they let you the women got butt naked, so them boys had them a dandy time. I told that's the time my homeboys came, man. Them niggas had on sweatpants with no drawers. These niggas came with... I was high as a kite. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, kicking it with my nigga, but like going in the strip club, that ain't really do nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? We got in for 5, and we were deep too. You know what I'm saying? We like 30, 40 deep. You know what I'm saying? Just as a crew, we out there burning. My homies ain't no holes in here. No holes in there. Like, yo, nigga, we trying to smoke. Nigga, ain't nobody stopping you from going in there. You know what I'm saying? Go in there. When them niggas walked in there and thought they was in heaven. You know what I'm saying? My homeboy up there, yeah, he dead now. That nigga up there putting his face in that woman's bare vagina on stage. I went in there, man. I wasn't with giving him my money, but now knowing the word and knowing some of the stuff I know, it was some reason why I just was not good with that environment. I'm not getting these hoes none of my money, man. I'm finna sit here and smoke me a joint. Remember we see Fred Taylor walking through there, he high on X pills. You know what I'm saying? You know, we young, man. I'm like 18. These niggas, most of us wasn't even grown, like legally grown as far as the United States is concerned. Some of them niggas 16, 17 years old. We all in there. Magic City let you in. That joint was right over there in San Marcos. You know what I'm saying? It's like 1999, 98. Young girls selling their body. Sad shame. 28, 16. And look at, and what you saying? You out there promoting so nigga young girl can get drunk and get ramrodded. Big grown rusty nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, grown rusty niggas outside. Outside. Now them niggas be posted up at that doggone bus station. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, niggas been posted up at Rosa Parks to snatch them a young girl. You need to come on, girl. I give you a ride. She gonna get a ride, all right. Ain't nothing stop a pedophile. 28 and 14, man. Wherefore, hear the word of Yahuah, you scorn for men. that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because you said we made a covenant with death, and with hell we are at agreement. And when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we made lies our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves. And see, that's what they ended up doing when they were messing with Baal Bereth. Let's read a little bit more about Baal Bereth. Let's see a little bit about it. Now that term covenant, his name also, the word Bereth also occurs in that Ugaritic text, what I was telling you about. It's not a whole bunch of information about Baal Bereth, but let me see what I can find. Here we go.
But from when I was looking at and to what you were saying, like when you were saying y'all got the top of the pantheon of gods, like when you say they're going to worship all of them, it's just saying they're going to worship like the other gods, pantheon type of thing.
Yeah, that's how they look at it, man.
They say volume, that's just like Lord, like they just be other gods. And then they was like, they mentioned out the name level was like all good, all pure, all love, like they all just.
That's the form. That's the
different variations of Baal.
Right.
And see that, but see, like I said, what them brothers is referring to is that Ugaritic text. So they ain't really, they taking elements of things that's in that Ugaritic text and comparing it with the script, and then saying.
When I read that, because they was saying that y'all came like to the Canaanites, who came to the God they worship because we worship them like we worship God.
Right.
That's why I said they was on the book.
But these supposed to be niggas who know the book.
They don't.
Shoot, let them tell. They say they do.
Niggas will look at the text and look at the customs and feel like God is just another God.
It depends, and the reason when that information came out, it came out during the time that they were pressing and pushing to learn modern Hebrew, or biblical Hebrew, excuse me, and be able to parse the text, and then you could see that it was and I'm like, bro, every time I done told y'all that before. Every time I seen them niggas parse a verse, it read the same exact way. I didn't see no difference. I didn't, and not in any other verses that they use. Not nothing where you be like, whoa, that drastically changed with that, man. I'm like, niggas said the same thing. I'm thoroughly unimpressed. You could have kept that to yourself. But that also shows you to where it's not a lot of information on Baal Bereth of note. That's where that turn around and go to show you that a lot of information can mess your head up. But let's take a trip to 2 Kings 17 and let's look it up. Because I mentioned a strip club for a reason. I just didn't mention that just to mention it. There was definitely a reason for its mentioning. Because we talked about the temple of Aphrodite and Venus last night. But let's actually look and show you that it's in the text. That junk be tripping me out when dudes be like, see, he got them demons on him. He been in the strip club. Ain't no demons in there. Maybe some sour coochie, but not no demons. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't no demons in there. Ain't nothing but evil people. People reveling, if you will. That niggas killed me with that one. He got a lust demon on him. So make that verse 24 of 2 Kings 7. He got a lust demon on him. Niggas quick to say that. I ain't never heard of a lust demon. What is a lust demon? Who is the demon of lust? Because there are no demons of lust. There's deities of lust. There's gods of lust. Aphrodite is a god of lust. You know what I'm saying? Astarte is a god of lust. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, shoot, all you doing is just taking on the nature of yourself. You just lustful. Yeah, you just lustful. The man told you that y'all made man upright. Man sought out many inventions. Don't put that on no demon. Because when you stand there on Judgment Day, that means I done told y'all that before. That means he got to give you a pass. You had a lust demon on your son. See, you wasn't responsible for all that porn and masturbating you were. So it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna give you. See, son, you had a pedophile demon on you. So it's okay. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make no sense. So at that point, I got a thief demon on me. I got a lying demon on me. I got a hate demon on me. At that point, that passes off the buck of responsibility and accountability for your actions. You don't have nothing on you. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know how to control yourself. I know you did. A lot of demons on you.
That scripture in Matthew when he said 7 unclean spirits will come to a man's house and work in. What's that about?
We went over that before. Whenever there's an unclean spirit on you, that spirit is tormenting you. It's not causing you to do anything. It may cause you to harm yourself. You know what I'm saying? But it's not going to cause you to commit sin. Like you seen dude, they say that the spirit would take him and throw him up against the rocks and he'd be foaming all out his mouth. When it said that evil spirit was on Saul, it said that spirit was tormenting Saul. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. When the spirit's on you, they're going to torment. They're going to make your life a living hell. You're going to wish you were dead. Yeah, like when you done seen some horror movies and they be like them be in them spirits and niggas be running, yeah, he in there messing with you. And guess what? If that evil spirit come to mess with you in that capacity, y'all son it. Y'all said go on over there and torment that nigga because we're tired of it. No, they can't. They can't do nothing to you if you're not wicked. I'm just saying if y'all send it, like with Saul, he sent that spirit to torment him. Yeah, that's what I didn't put no caveat on why he was sending.
If y'all put that spirit on you, you're living right now, you bad.
Oh no, I mean he's not gonna send an evil spirit to torment somebody just on the strength. If you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing, you could be doing what you're supposed to be doing, but if you slip it, he gonna send a Malakim to get your mind right, and not an evil spirit to torment you, like what he did with Balaam. He didn't want to kill Balaam, but he sent that Malakim with that sword out. Who he did was waiting on the word. I kill this nigga right now. You know what I'm saying? I kill him right now. Just give me the word. There's a difference. You got to remember, this is the same thing I heard the brother talking about this here too, and he actually said it correctly, and I was pleased. And we done went over this before. You know what I'm saying? Niggas thinking that the sons of God seen the daughters of men and thinking that's angels. Angel has no need for sex. When the book tells you that angels are ministers of flames of fire, heirs to the service of salvation, they're ministering ruachs. A ruach has no need for sex. The minute you say a Malakim needs sex, you just said Yahuah needs sex. Why does an angel need to have sex with a woman for? That's not even common sense. Then the same nigga will turn around and say, don't wear mixed garments, brother. But you're going to say, you're going to mix entities. You see Yahushua say clear as day in Luke 24. A spirit don't have flesh and bone as you see me have. Spirits don't have no flesh, no bones, no blood. They spirits. They're immortal. They don't have any need. Why you think every time a Malakim popped up, they were like, eat with me? They're like, nigga, I don't need no food. You know what I'm saying? They doing that because they hospitable. You know what I'm saying? Like when Samson mama them made them cake, he like, I gotta eat with you for what? Same way when they asked him what his name was, what you need to know my name? And then what did he do when he leave? He disappeared in the fire. He transformed from human form and went into some fire. And in the book, if you see a Malakim anyway, you're gonna be outright terrified. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas act like you don't see an angel. Hey, Mr. Angel, you shake your hand. They fell down to the ground, dead, terrified. That's as the book said, that's a terrible sight, meaning awesome. You don't see that every day. You know what I'm saying? And if you were driving down the street and you seen an angel in the sky, you're gonna crash your car. You know what I'm talking about? Because the esteem of it, that's not gonna throw you off. Nigga, Daniel was a righteous man. Daniel fell down dead. Gabriel had to come tell him, get up, cuz it's all right. Then he said, no. You know what I'm saying? You got me a little throne right now. I ain't right. You gotta realize Daniel's a man. That's a man. No, bro, that's not a normal occurrence, man. Samson people did the same thing. They seen that Malachi, they said, oh, we finna die. We done seen God. Niggas act like they see angels every day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they show you that touch by an angel. Highway to heaven. You know what I'm saying? No angel walking around there tapping you on your back. Hey, brother. Looking like your grandma.
Most of the time he did send them
like a man.
Like that.
But for the most part, but they would think it was a man, but once they recognized who it was, them niggas were terrified. And he still looked like a man and they were scared. Because the one with Samson, he definitely looked like a man. And they were cool. Till he told them who he was. The next thing you know, that terror set in.
Like Abraham,
yeah, he was indeed until they told him who he was. Next thing you know, the whole situation changed.
He might have shown.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that's what he be saying, like they didn't realize that they be angels, they be like,
Their whole demeanor changed.
He might have.
Because, indeed, but that's why the epistle letter tells you to entertain strangers, because you may have entertained an angel unaware. Because but that's because they haven't revealed that they're an angel. Once they reveal that they're an angel, no, it's different ballgame. I would say that probably everybody in this room at some point in their lifetime probably has ran across one and you didn't know it. Whether you had direct interaction with them or not, it's neither here nor there. You know what I'm talking about? We've all probably ran across one. But if he manifests himself to you, you falling on the ground. You're going to get a little nervous. You know what I'm talking about? You're going to get a little nervous because that's an awesome sight. But yeah, you probably done ran across one. I mean, my homeboy got mad with me. I done ran across an angel before. Man, this lady, I said, boy, that wasn't no angel, cuz. But I knew it was. I said, well, you can't show me a female angel in that book. Don't worry. I got all day. You got the blunts too. So where we going? We ain't going nowhere. I'll wait on you. You know what I mean? And then he was like, I know that was an angel. Nigga got a whole bottle of a Colt 45 and a cigarette in his mouth. He a lot of things. An angel ain't one of them. If you think Yahuah servant sitting around here drinking Colt 45, smoking cools, nigga, you smoking crack. Yeah, nigga say that was an angel, bro. I know it. This nigga got a whole beer and a cigarette in his mouth. From afar. You might have been riding down the street, thought that was a regular homeless dude that you turned and looked at and seen sitting there, be an angel. Could have been a dude in a 3-piece suit. You wouldn't know. Because all they doing is going to and fro the earth, giving a report back to Yahuah on what they seeing. And they walk dolo. Sometimes they walk in clusters. You know what I'm talking about? It's supposed to be a witness according to Torah, 2 or 3 witnesses. And when he son in the Sodom and Gomorrah, how many he son? He son 2. I need 2 witnesses on this report. We just read it last night. The eyes of Yahuah go to and fro throughout the earth to show itself perfect on behalf of those. He said, Malachi, send me back a report. I'm a king. I don't get off my throne. That's what I got y'all for. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out there. Yeah, I can see everything at once, but I got other things I'm taking care of. Go handle that for me. Tell me how things going. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Yeah, you gotta realize that king don't get off his throne to do nothing. That's what I got servants for. Why you think Yahushua came and got off his throne, taught his servants, got them right? I'm gonna holler at y'all. You know what I'm saying? I go back and sit on my throne. That's what I got y'all for. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you gotta believe this son. This is a big deal that he came off.
Yeah. He came off. Kings don't come off their throne, man. Great came to do a great work. Kings don't get off their throne. But you gotta understand and know that. Kings don't get off their throne. That's why America done got you this thing. The man need to do this more in the household. He the king. Why he supposed to get off his throne? That's what he got you for. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't been told that the woman is a servant. You know what I'm saying? But kings don't get off their throne. I'm doing kingly things. But you got to be doing kingly things to say that, though. You know what I'm saying? You just can't say you a king because you got a penis. You got to actually be doing kingly things to say, I can't get off my throne right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm strategizing for the next part of our kingdom. You know what I mean? I'm not a toy. Exactly. You know what I mean? But it's different, though. Because when you look at, and they show you that when you play chess, like the king don't move. That's what y'all for. You know what I'm talking about? The king is the least explosive piece on the board, but the most important piece in the whole game. Least explosive. He can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? The queen can woo, woo, woo. Everybody else can do something. Even only other one who can do that only equal is the pawn. And that's only because you're expendable. And his job is to protect the king. Ain't nobody protecting the pawn. Go lay down. Don't take your nap. 2 Kings 17. It's the words that dare not speak their name. Don't try to clean it up. Just leave it where it's at. Put it in the grave, cuz. Put it in the grave. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Qatar, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Yasharal. They possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling that they feared not Yahuah. Therefore Yahuah sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which you have removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the Elohim of the land. When it says manner there, it's mishpat. So they don't know the judgment of the Elohim of the land. So they don't know right from wrong. They don't know it. You know what I'm saying? Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the judgment of the Elohim of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom you brought from hence, and let them go dwell there, and let them teach them the judgment of the Elohim of the land. Then one of the priests whom they carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Yahuah. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans had made every nation in their cities wherein they dwell. Hold on. So when we look at that word idols, right, it's galul. You have a gamal, a lamad, a u, and a lamad. I'll give you a moment. A gamal, a lamad, a u, and a lamad. I'll give you a moment. Galul for idols. Gamal, lamad, u, lamad. So the iniquity, right? It said the nations, they made their own. Even though they were taught to fear Yahuah, they decided to make their own gods instead. Gamal, lamad, u, and lamad. Idols. So what y'all got for that? Gamal, lamad, u, and lamad. Gamal, lamad, and u, and lamad. That's how they got to spell. Yeah, but I might have just wrote around the wrong verse. Yeah, because it just got gods in it, but I just wrote down the wrong verse. That's in verse 41. That's a word for great. That's a different word for graven images. I get that in a minute. People be looking there and say, I don't know them people. I'm finna dip. Oh no, that was a little much. That came from verse 12. Yeah, verse 12.
Oh.
I read it out loud though. I read about verse 9. It says, and the children of Yasharal did secretly those things that were not right against Yahuah their Elohim, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And they burnt incense in all the high places that did the heathen, whom Yahuah had carried away before them, and work wicked things to provoke Yahuah to anger. For they serve idols, whereof Yahuah said unto them, you shall not do this thing. So the key point you see when you look at that word for idol, you see that Lamar is there, so there's some teaching going on. You know what I'm saying? And if you got Gamal, you have a foot or the way, or a messenger, so you have someone who's bringing this message teaching along the way. You know what I'm saying? But that message of teaching is securing you to something. And you know what it's securing you to? That shepherd's rod right upside your head. You know what I'm talking about? Because actually what we're reading in 2 Kings 17 is evident of that. Because what did he do with the 10 tribes of Yasharal? Huh? Now, he ain't yoking them or binding them or nothing. No. He got rid of them. What you read in 2 Kings 17, remember he said, he done put them out. That's why the Babylonians done took people and put them there. Well, the Assyrians have taken people. That's why those lions are eating these people, because they're dwelling in the northern kingdom and they don't know the judgment of the land. So they live in any kind of way. See, it's not like what it is now. Like the law say, Yahuwah's eyes is always on the land, always. But once you left, he said the land ain't gonna give forth the fruit. Like what people think the land doing now, it can do exponentially more if Yahuwah decided it to do so. He doesn't allow it to produce at the level that it could produce because he cares nothing about the people who live in it. And it is to a most part. I mean, but they got a little something going on. You know what I'm saying? But not as much as it could be, because it's a lot more fertile land. That's why dudes in this time period say, why that land ain't all that fertile? Oh, it's very fertile. You know what I'm saying? It's just we not there, and he don't care. Indeed, he did. All to do is show you that he done told the truth. He said, man, look here, that land ain't gonna give forth her fruit. She ain't gonna produce nothing. That's why they go to Africa and pillage all of that. You know what I'm saying? But the land can produce just as much as what the whole quote-unquote continent of Africa to produce and more. He chooses not to because he don't care. And he's not going to have it produced for people that don't belong to him that he know are death. So you don't get rewarded with good things for being wicked. Who raises children like that? Only people in America. The people in America reinforce negative behavior. You don't reward negative behavior. It doesn't give an impetus for an individual to correct their behavior. That's why people don't like when Yahuwah correct. That's why people didn't like the fact that white boy was out there. Just go white. It didn't but about 4 minutes. That's why people didn't like that white boy correcting Kirk Franklin like that. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a shame a Gentile got to tell you no more about your God than you do. You know what I'm saying? But that's what people don't like. I've been telling y'all that. Huh? Because he was a white dude. Pure Caucasian. Pure Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? He definitely good on. He might be in his dreams. Either way it go though. But it smashed Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin came out there with them capris on too. Look, he had no. Did he? He had no bandana on. He did. I couldn't remember. He had his punk haircut on though. He had a punk fit on. Niggas supposed to know this nigga wicked. This nigga made an album with Snoop Dogg. Talking about God brought them together. It was God's will. Sell some records. You know, Snoop made a whole gospel album. Yeah, niggas bought it and loved it. That's how you know how wicked people is. Oh yeah, Snoop made a gospel album about what, 2-3 years ago? Yeah, he was Snoop lying. He had a Rastafari album too, and then he made a gospel album. No, he made 2 different albums. He made a Rasta album, and then he made a gospel album. Did a song with Kirk Franklin, because that's his man. That nigga said that ain't nobody but God. Look a second. This nigga is insane. Who found this man? 2 Kings 17 and 30, man. So the whole point, and this goes back to what we started at in Proverbs 10, about how the way of Yahuwah is strength, but destruction is to the workers of iniquity. because your ancestors work iniquity in the process of, because you got to remember something, right? Iniquity means to be what? If you're a work of iniquity, what are you? You're lawless. So when you look at most of these pagan deities, what are they? Lawless. So they teach you the one common law: do as you will. No, do what you want to do. It ain't no thing. It's all up to you. Where you think Michael Jackson got that from? Whoever wrote the song, nigga, telling you off the wall, he telling you to do what Lester Crowley. And you know he was a proponent of Lester Crowley. Because all you got to do is, what's the name of that album where he had all that artwork with all them funny looking stuff on it, man? Yeah. He had a Lester Crowley in the album cover.
That's where he had his eyes.
Yeah. Amusement. Come on, man. You think somebody gonna slide it? You think he ain't sign off on that? You think he ain't know Lester Crowley was on that? Now, you know, maybe towards the end of his life, Michael Jackson been like, you know what? I'm tired of taking it in the butt messing with Pan. But you know, you had done it for some. You have to sit back and look at it, man. That man. I'm trying to tell you, the nigga named his compound Neverland, so that's a nod to Pan. You know what I'm saying? You can't be ignorant to that. Nigga say, you know what I'm saying? Straight up. Dangerous, yeah. So and this is no joke. You know, his daddy was in the army, so it's a good chance that Mike been singing since he was 5 before he died. Put him under that program. I read long before I seen anything on the internet that man used to get molested at the backstage of the Ed Sullivan show. Who does that? Is on Southside Boulevard. That's surely not Atlanta. Michael Jackson, Ed Sullivan. Of course, nigga. Shoot, by who? Shoot, whoever got a penis. Whoever got a penis and in the pederast. Well, I just gave you one name. His name's Ed Sullivan, but that's before your time. Ed Sullivan. That's before your time. He wasn't late night, but he was talk show host. They didn't do late night talk shows then. You know what I'm saying? That didn't come about till probably you want to say really got popular till Johnny Carson really started doing it. About shoot, because that's the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson, he wasn't even the originator of the Tonight Show. It was somebody before him, but Johnny Carson made it popular. But now I read that in a book years ago. They was like, yeah, Michael Jackson got molested. Ed Sullivan show. Everywhere they went, passing him around like a Newport. But that's what they do. Look here, man. Corey Feldman said straight up, the biggest problem in Hollywood is pedophilia. That's the little boy from the Lost Boys. And if you know about the Lost Boys, you know that's Pan too. Because that's who Pan was touching on, was the Lost Boys. What grown man gonna name this house Neverland? You know what I'm saying? That ain't to say that Mike necessarily may have been touching boys, but it definitely lets you know that he was a venerator of Pan. And then guess what he did? Just like Pan, he never had young girls over there, just boys. And that could have been part of his mind control program.
I ain't gonna say he was not.
I don't know. I ain't gonna say he was not either, but he definitely was following. One of the little boys said he gave me Jesus juice. That's what he called the wine. This is in the court documents. I ain't making that up.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. They said that's in the court documents that they can't ask them what kids slept with.
No, I read this kid slept in his bed. And if he touched him or not, nigga, of course nigga gonna look at you suspect. You're 40-something years old in the bed with a 7-year-old. Nigga, what's wrong with you? That's not even you.
That's not your mind.
That's what I say. I don't know if he touched him children or not, but I do know he's a venerator of Pan. That is apparent. You know what I'm talking about? And if you put a Lester Crowley on there, Lester Crowley was into sex magic, and that nigga called himself the Great Beast. So shoot. Nigga, you study a Lester Crowley, nigga, you a weird dude. But like I said, he might have said, you know what? I'm tired of, you know what I'm saying? Nigga sucking penis and all this other type of stuff. And
You say that though, like when you start making man interfere and all that little stuff.
yeah, you could. That's what I'm saying. He might have got tired of the program. You must know this. You have to know this. Looking for. You know what I mean? But you got the reason why I mention all this here because look at verse 30. It says the men of Babylon made Succoth Benoth, and the man of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath Ashima. Well, Ben Succoth. Is anybody in here familiar with Ben Succoth? No, Succoth, son of the dweller. It actually means the daughters of the booth. The daughters of the booth. The daughters of the booth. This is a Babylonian deity. You know what I mean? And what they did at the daughters of Succoth was they got a little freaky. No, not in the tent, but that is actually the origination of what you would call a strip club today. Like when you see the spots like we read last night about not being a temple prostitute, that's what they did in Succoth Benoth or in the house of the daughters of Booths. That's what they did in there. They got a little freaky, little tricky. Now let me give y'all something else too, man. Daughters of the brothel. That's what they was in there doing. That's the strip club. This is what they put in the land of Yahuah. They brought that with them from Babylon. They brought the strip club with them from Babylon. Let's put this in the house of Yahuah. And guess what? When we came back in the land, guess what we wanted to do? We were tricked indeed, but shoot, never asked a coach been oath. Oh, they seen it. There they were like, oh, boy. We ain't got stuff like this back home. But let me ask y'all this here, man. How y'all, we didn't talk about this before, but I'm finna be serious though. Finna be dead serious. Of course, y'all know y'all got this stuff going on about niggas around here talking about they eating groceries. But do y'all know like where this particular custom come from? Some of y'all didn't used to watch wrestling. Do you remember when Vince McMahon had the Kiss My Behind Club and he would have grown men kiss his butt on camera? Why these grown niggas agreed to do that, I do not know. Yeah, Rakishi used to put his butt in people, but Vince McMahon had a Kiss My Club. He had William Regal kiss him on his bare buttocks on national television. This man pulled his pants down. This man got on his knees and kissed this man's butt. For a check. That's what he did it for. Now, see, Goldust was an androgynous character. Was he gay? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He came out in 96, and they wanted to do that, and Goldust ain't nothing but symbolic of Pan, because he's androgynous. Is he? Oh yeah, that's Billy Gunn. But that's because he had a character that didn't work. See, he was Bart Gunn and Billy Gunn. They were cowboys, and then he came with that one there. But he had one where they did some stuff with, they did weird stuff, man. But that was just some of that stuff. That's just Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon did stuff. One, he's a venerator of Pan. And then two, but I mean, everybody in the entertainment business is a venerator of Pan. But he did stuff for shock value because he was in a strong competition. Like in the mid to late 80s, they didn't do all that. But when WCW, like, oh, this competition, oh, he pulled out everything. Anything his perverse mind could think of to compete and to stand out. You know what I'm saying? She's always said only on Saturday nights. Wrestling ain't never really been on regular TV. It was always on cable. So if you ain't had cable, you wasn't gonna see it.
You know what I'm saying? It did come on. It probably was on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night main event. SmackDown did for a period. Came on UPN. SmackDown finna be back on regular TV because Fox is paying that man billions to air SmackDown, coming on Fridays. And they told him let's say if you don't keep a high rating, then they say the contract canceled. But they're actually trying to take it, and Fox wants them to make it be more like a real sporting event. Because they just said that he dropped the entertainment out of it because they would call it sports entertainment, and he just dropped it. Because that's what Fox wanted to do. When people talking in billions, that's why I'm trying to tell you. Somebody handing you billions, they going to control it. You're going to be controlled. But nevertheless, the word here is osculum in fame. Have any of y'all ever heard of oscula in fame? Probably not, because you're not a witch. Oscula in fame is the name of a witch's supposed ritual greeting upon meeting with the devil. The name means the shameful kiss or the kiss of shame, since it involved kissing the devil's anus, his other mouth. According to folklore, it was this kiss that allowed the devil to seduce women. So you wondering why somewhere out of the blue, niggas around here talking about kissing booty, eating booty, all that type of stuff, because that's the kiss of shame, because you ought to be shamed. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because remember, I always was wondering why does junk just come out of the blue, all these people singing about eating booty and all this other type of stuff, it just seemed to come out of nowhere. Worshiping Satan. Worshiping pain. Do you understand this junk say the witches? And it would make sense that the women in the entertainment industry would be singing about that and talk, or Gabrielle Union getting on Sway Show talking about how she like to do her husband like that, completely embarrassing him. You know what I'm saying? You could have kept that information to yourself. Nobody needed. Well, we already know Dwayne. I'm talking about in general. As a woman, you don't get on there and tell me, oh yeah, I eat my husband's butt. He likes it too. Nah, because you around here kissing the devil's anus. Kiss of shame. But continuing though. It said during the years of witch hunts, many believed that witches worshiped the devil and paid him homage by kissing his posterior. The osculum in fame is mentioned in nearly every single recorded account of witches' Sabbaths and in confessions, most of which were extracted under torture. It was common in Europe. No illustrations exist in English persecutions, possibly as torture was not regularly employed in questioning those who was accused. It was called the kiss of shame. It was generally regarded as an act of degradation. According to allegations, witches would give the kiss of shame at the beginning of the Sabbath, and after the devil had read the names of his followers, they would approach him by crawling or walking backwards, turn, bow, and kiss his posterior. It was believed that this kiss was required for a new witch to be initiated, and the kiss was followed by feasting. So after you niggas kiss booty, you niggas go eat? That's just horrible. I hope they didn't share utensils. Sometimes witches kiss not only the devil's fundament, but low-ranking demons as well. Generally considered to be an act of homage or respect, the North Berwick witch trials of Scotland in the 16th century held that kiss was an act of penance issued from the devil. That's some weird stuff, man. Some weird stuff. But I'm just sitting here saying, though, it's a lot of stuff people do. I wonder about these things. Like, where does this come from? Why are you doing it? What is the point of doing it? You know what I'm saying? Whole time, these niggas venerating Satan, kissing him on his anus. And now that's cool because people brag about it. And to do it, if the person ain't laying down, you got to get on your knee. I just seen it. I think it was a little dude was sharing a video of a dude eating a ghastly woman's body out in public. I don't say I blame you. Yeah, that nigga popped up, man, and that nigga had a video. This nigga was performing cunnilingus imperfect on what looked like a basin. Huh? I don't know what it was at. It looked like he ought to go to hell. Because his mouth definitely diseased. That nigga definitely gonna have some legions on his lips by the end of the week. That's for certain. But let's look at the other god that's mentioned here. His name is Nergal. Nergal means hero. Y'all do know where the word hero come from. Who knows where the word hero come from? Code 2 and 2, we got to keep on going a little further back, and you keep on going, you're going to get to good old Horus. But Nergal is the god of war, plague, death, and disease. Excuse me. That's what he did. He's mentioned. Let's see what his attributes are. He was a solar deity. He was identified with Shamash, only a representative portrayed in the sun. He was also a deity who presided over the netherworld. who stands at the head of a spiritual pantheon assigned to the government of the dead, and that associated him with the goddess Alatu, and she may have functioned as the sole mistress of Alaru. He's also known, this is no cap, as the fighting cock, brought in the land. So you can see why Yahuah sent lions to eat these people up. Number one, you got a strip club in my land. You know what I'm talking about? Now y'all around here worshiping this God who the God of the dead, probably around here fighting roosters and whatnot. He was also related to the planet Mars, and he was a fiery god of destruction. He was also equated to Aries. And once you know when you're dealing with Mars and Aries, you know that's going to take you to Horus. The last god mentioned here is Ashima. I don't think I wrote Ashima down. Let me see if well, that's not a Babylonian deity. I got to pull the word out for what it means. He don't even sound like he right. Ashima is guiltiness, I will make desolate. So again, this sounds like another destructive deity. You notice that if you notice with a lot of pagan deities, and this is a goddess, especially with a lot of the goddess deities, they usually seem to be over lust, war, or vegetation. Most of these gods are usually over vegetation. She's an ancient Semitic goddess, and there's not a lot of information about this whole that I can find. Let me see what I got right here. You know, so from where it looked at, they couldn't find a lot of information to equate her to. Well, let's continue because there's more people that are about to be named in verse 31. Then you have the Avites made Neobaz and Tartak, and the Severadites burnt their children in fire to Amdrelek and Amalek, the gods of Sepharim. So let's look at this dude here, Amdrelek and Amalek, because they made him be like Molech. They took the customs of Molech and just brought them over to these individuals. Now, Amdrelek means honor of the king. And Amalek means the image of the king. So now this is here where we're going to start to dive into some information. So look at it, right? These two gods want children burnt in the fire, correct? One means the honor of the king and the image of the king. Now I'm going to show you something that came to my head yesterday. Whole 2 Kings 17. Come over here to Genesis chapter 27. We're going to run a little parallel. If you will. Because if you're in the image of the king, who you in the image of? You would be in the image of Mashiach, because it says that he made us in his image and in his likeness. Correct? So then if you're in the honor of the king, he says that all those that honor him, his father would honor. Now remember, they're taking the children, and now Mashiach said he'll take his children and pass them through the fire. Let me read that first. Matthew chapter 3. Let me read that first. Matthew chapter 3, verse 7 is sufficient. He says, but when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his immersion, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth therefore fruits meet for repentance. Think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that Elohim is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And now also the axe is laid to the root of the trees. Therefore every tree which bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Indeed, I immerse you with water unto repentance, but he that come after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I'm not worthy to bear. He shall immerse you with the Ruach HaKodesh and with fire, whose fan is in his hand, And he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. So Yahushua said he's going to immerse you with fire. So he's going to cause you to pass through the fire, but it's the fire of affliction, if you will. He's not taking his children and burning them to another deity. Nevertheless, Genesis chapter 27. It might be 25, but I just, it's 25. Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. What does that say for plain man? What does it say? Perfect man. There you go. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray you, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Jacob said, sell me this day your birthright. Esau said, behold, I'm at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do to me? Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. So selling the birthright, he's selling the right of the firstborn. So he actually, in reality, sold the image and honor of the king. How do we know this? Genesis chapter 32. So we're going to tie that back, and then we're going to grab Marduk, put this all together with Bel and Nebo, and see how we've been discussing. There are no multiple deities of a pantheon. It's one individual, if you want to look at it historically, which most of us should already know, is Nimrod. You know what I'm saying? Nimrod had one objective. He wanted to be like Elohim according to historical accounts, not what the text say, because the text don't talk about Nimrod too tough. The text just say Nimrod was a mighty man and a cunning hunter, and that's it. There's no other discussion about Nimrod whatsoever. It's another deity that I wanted to grab if we get to him today. Most I will get to him next week. Who, you know, they made multiple towers of Babel. They called them ziggurats. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might have learned about them in school. You learned about it in school? Ziggurats. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but just big old towers. You know what I'm saying? Similar to that, because that's what they were into. But Genesis chapter 32 and 28. Well, 27. He said unto him, what is your name? He said, Jacob. And he said, your name shall be called no more Jacob, but you're off. As a prince, you have power with Elohim, and with man, you have prevailed. So when you turn around and look at this, if he's got power to rule as Elohim, then he has the honor of the king, and he's in the image of the king. This is what Esau despised. Let's go back to Genesis 27. and 30. And it says, and it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. He also made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that my soul may bless me, that your soul may bless me. Isaac his father said unto him, who are you? He said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that have taken venison and brought it me? I've eaten all before you came, and have blessed him. And yea, he shall be blessed. You know what he told him? I done blessed him, and he gonna be blessed. Basically, he just told him, you AOL, son. You AOL. I ain't got nothing for you. Real talk. You a day late in $1 show, man. Suck it up and deal with it. He said, and when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. He said, your brother came with subtlety and have taken away your blessing. He said, is he not rightly named Jacob? So when you look at that there, right, y'all know what Jacob means, correct? Besides heel catcher, what does it mean? Supplanter. So that's why he said he's right. So remember, Jacob come out the womb known as the heel catching supplanter. Well, a supplanter is nothing but somebody who's going to take somebody's place. Well, guess what? Esau feel like Jacob has taken his place. But Jacob has not taken your place. Because y'all know what the law say, right? The law say, 2 men of nation shall come forth out of your bowels, and the elder shall serve the younger. So that's why, of course, we already know this. So that's why Rebecca did what she did, because she already knew who the blessing was for. The blessing was always for Jacob. Why he said, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. I ain't no fool with that red nigga. I don't mess with that nigga. That nigga dumb. That nigga like beans. So I don't like beans. I like bread. Living bread. This nigga like beans. Nigga still kill me talking about he ate a raw meat. Ain't nowhere in there did he say he ate raw meat. The junk said red pottage with lentils. The nigga had red bean soup. Simple as that. That's what it is. Every nigga in here done had lentils before. Who in here ain't had no lentils? Probably Lil Stanley. Lil Stanley said I ain't had no lentils. So he ain't had no lentils. He said unless they come out my mom's breast. So ain't no beans come out of there. Just milk. If you did have beans out of there, I know you ain't human. I'm gonna stay away from it. That's not normal. I told my homeboy that one time. Told him that nigga was a mutant. That nigga said he did something unhumanly. I said, well, you was a mutant, nigga. That nigga got offended. Shoot, you should have told that story. I'm gonna let that story stay where it's at, but he should have told that story. He said, is it not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, he taken away my blessing, and said, have you not reserved a blessing for me? Isaac answered and said, Esau, behold, I've made him your master, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. With corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto you, my son? So if he gave him corn and wine, guess what he gave him? He gave him bread and the covenant. You understand that? I gave him life and a covenant. Remember what was the other one whose name meant covenant? I forget. Baal Berith. You know what I'm saying? The Lord of the covenant. See, this is what he wants to be. Esau wants to be the Lord of the covenant, but Jacob is really the Lord of the covenant. So we're going to realize something, that Esau wants to actually do what Jacob's name means and supplants. But bear with me, and this is why we're dealing with all these idols at the end of the day. Because it's pointing to one person, and y'all know who it's pointing to. Because he's going to try to bring in all the doings, works, and attributes of all these false deities and merge them under one house. If you think it's a joke, you just wait for it. You know what I'm saying? Because you think these people out here worshiping Pan for nothing? Like I said, I might mention some of that stuff and joke about it, but nah, that junk and that kiss of shame, that's not no joke. Because you know what I'm saying? Now we could be, let me be dead serious about that regard. These are witches kissing Satan's rectum. Now these same witches have taught you to kiss people's rectums. So whether you realize it or not, you're participating in a ritual that is to give homage to the adversary. Now, are you? Well, really, you are giving homage to Baal Peor and the adversary, because these are not things that are of Elohim. These are definitely disgusting and vile actions that no godly person should even dare participate in. And if you was a godly individual and your husband say, come over here and eat my booty, number one, you'd be like, that nigga's gay. Number two, don't never disrespect me like that. I serve Yahuah, and vice versa. That woman come to you, come on, lick my booty. It's time for you to go and move out. Because we serve Yahuah in this house. You know what I'm saying? We serve Yahuah in this house. You got to get out. I done married a whore. Ooh, these people bold with it now. So what's happening? You gonna lick my butt or what? I'm just saying though. That's how niggas roll. You gonna lick my booty or what? I'm trying to get right. I already got me some flights, so go ahead and take it. I told him, man, I knew the chick back in the day, she used to try that junk. He was like, well, we'll punch you in your nose like a pit bull. Oh, I knew that one chick, but she used to love to try to lick niggas' booty. She was a stone cold whore. So any nigga she slept with, you know what I'm saying, she gonna try you. See if you with it. Because she like this, she said, I kiss them down their back. If they don't say nothing, I just keep on going. Keep on going. I'm like, you was a nasty hoe. You know what I'm talking about? One thing about a whore don't mind telling you her exploits and who she done did it with. She don't mind. You know what I'm saying? She ain't ashamed of what she doing, because if she was, she wouldn't be telling you. Where we at, man? Look at verse 38. Esau said unto his father, have you not but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also. I ain't got nothing. He said, oh, my father. Esau lift up his voice and wept. Y'all know what it said in Hebrews 12. You can do all that crying all you want. They say, boy, y'all ain't no repentance for you, nigga. See, that's what the people are problem is, right? You do stuff, and then you feel like because you turn them crocodile tears on, somebody's supposed to feel sorry for you. No, don't nobody feel sorry for you. Because you already know you shouldn't have sold your birthright from the jump street. You know what I'm talking about? See, once he sold the birthright, the blessing was gone. Because the birthright, you can't have the blessing and not the birthright. The birthright tied to the blessing. But guess what? You despised that birthright because you were hungry, because you was carnal, because you love the things of this life. This is why the Crystal let us tell you, don't love the things of this life. This is why I mentioned that about that last night about people dying. People are going to die. So you can't be emotionally attached to that because you might as well get in the grave with them. Because you may not be there physically with them, but emotionally and mentally you there with them. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to stunt you from serving Yahuah because you're going to actually serve Yahuah with resentment. You know what I'm saying? Because you mad with him because this person died as if that person didn't belong to him. You know what I'm saying? That man had already paid that price. That blood been done dried up. But just like we read in Ezekiel 25, he didn't cover it up. And just like he said in the epistle to the Hebrews in regards to talking about, what the name is? Abel, he said his blood cried out to me from the ground. Same way Yahushua's blood cried out to him from the ground. And he heard that cry and hearkened to it. That's why he rose him from the dead. So guess what? You bought, signed, sealed, and delivered. That man can take us out of here when he get ready. The book already tell you in Isaiah 57, merciful men are taken away before a time of evil, and nobody lay it to heart. You don't even consider, think about it. You don't even consider he takes some people, righteous people now, let's just be clear on that. He take them up out of here so they ain't got to see what's coming. And that's what he told Solomon. He said, Solomon, you know I'm going to snatch this kingdom from you. He said, but I ain't going to do it in your time. Your eyes ain't got to see it. When Ahab actually repented, what he told Ahab, he said, you know what? I ain't going to kill you. He said, I'm going to still kill your sons. He said, but I ain't going to let you see that, though. I ain't going to let you see that, though. Your eyes won't behold that. Because he told Ahab, I'm going to kill everything that piss against the wall. You know what I'm saying? Them strong words right there. He said, man, I'm going to do a work that will make your ears tingle. See, people don't like them conversations, don't make you feel good on the inside. But guess what? Just because Ahab did all that crying don't mean he gave him repentance from the judgment that he was going to do. I just showed you, I extended you some mercy. I ain't reversing my judgment. I said what I said. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. He said, Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And your word, and by your sword shall you live, and you shall serve your brother, and it shall come to pass when you shall have dominion, that you shall break his yoke from off your neck. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing, whereas his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, and then will I slay my brother Jacob. Now, this is also an example of what's in Ephesians, that the children of the flesh persecute the children of the spirit as it is this day. But when you look at this parallel of Jacob hating Esau because of a blessing and obtaining a birthright, who will we be able to parallel this to? Considering that we're talking about two deities that are in the honor, who one means honor of the king and the other means the image of the king. Two people we could parallel this to. I mean, we already have to. Out the script. Not just Jacob and Esau, but Amalek or whatever the nigga's name is, because I don't care to remember. But those two deities that mean honor of the king and image of the king. You got to realize something. Esau was supposed to be in the honor and the image of the king, and he rejected it. He hated it. You know what I'm saying? And then because of that, he wanted to slay the individual who is in the honor and image of the king, which is Jacob. You're going to have to, now the beast ain't the one. The beast is you being used, but he ain't the one. It's Satan. Because Satan want to be in the image and honor of the king. Because remember, who's behind the beast? Who's behind Yahushua? So that's what it is. So when you look at Satan and you look at Yahushua, you see a kind of the struggle between Jacob and Esau. Not that Satan is the firstborn, because we know Satan is not the firstborn. But Satan wanted that birthright and that blessing. And he was mad that he didn't get it. Remember, we went over this before. Satan does not, see, people say, oh, he didn't want to serve Adam. No, he didn't want to serve the second Adam. He could care less about the first Adam. He knew the first Adam was not in any type of level equal to him whatsoever. But what he wanted to honor is he wanted to, remember what he said? He said he's the Lord, your Lord, and your brethren. So we need to look at something, right? Job 38 and 11. So Job 38, 7, and Psalms 45. Matter of fact, don't even get Psalms 45. Hebrews chapter 1. But Job 38 first.
Since most of the people back then were literally like most of the people that read all the information that they was getting about themselves.
Word of mouth.
And like people who taught them. And I was looking at like how they learned America. Not that we were literally the average person before God to the extent people do this.
That's why I pushed that. That's why I pushed that when we looked at that first word for idols, and that when it had that mean, and it had that sod, but it also had that pay, and it had that lamar, because I'm going to teach you verbally, point to what the beast is going to do with his image, because it's not going to be no reading, so to speak. And why is he going to do it that way? For what you just mentioned? Because faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. So how am I going to get you to believe it? By audibly and verbally speaking it to you. At all.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, then they kept a lot of the practices going just by the people who did know how to read, teaching about it, and showing them how to.
But I also would say I don't know how illiterate people very well might have been, because these people had their own languages and writing forms. So I would give them credit in antiquity that probably majority of people probably could read a little bit more than historians give them credit for. I think it's more so that time period of when Anglo-Saxons started rising to power that they couldn't read. You know what I'm saying? And then they want to try to push that on ancient people as if they couldn't read. You know what I'm saying? Because you know the Sumerians had their own language, the Babylonians had their own language.
I was just saying that in reference to geography where you live. You know what I'm saying? So like if you lived in Canaan, they would say because they culture, they were agriculture. They were the hands-on people. So they would just say like the average person on the lower social level probably didn't know how to read. And when they went to places to worship, they would just get to talk about God, like you saying, verbally, like we would do wrong.
And on top of the fact that none of those gods had any testaments written either. On top of that.
No, that's what I was reading when we were talking about you get a test. That's all it is. It is what they do have to write about what the people
Yeah, that's about it.
Like the only people that had those physical texts, like literally
the priests.
Right.
The people who control.
Because when you look at the back, like there's no ancient text other than the script. Them cultures ain't had no books. Not like except for the I'm gonna mispronounce it, but you know the Babylonian book where they get their account of the flood. So I don't want to mispronounce it, but something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? They had a book. Yeah, the Epic of Gilgamesh, but it's got another name to it. The Ugaritic text. Yeah, because the Sumerians did have a book, and truth be told, a lot of those books spring from the Sumerians text. And a lot of people feel like everything that happens in that general area of Canaan, that it's all the same story. Dudes who say they believe the book. Go figure. Job 38:4. He said, where was you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who have laid the measures thereof? If you know, who have stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Who laid the cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy. So you sit back and you look at this here, you have these sons of Elohim shouting for joy. Now Satan did not want to walk in this step because he wanted to be the only begotten son of Elohim. How do we know this? Hebrews chapter 1. Hebrews 1:4. Being made so much better than the Malachim as he, by an inheritance, obtained a more excellent name than they. So, Paul, when we look at what we talk about in Genesis 25, had not Jacob attained a more excellent name than Esau by inheritance? Because he said, Jacob have I loved, Esau I have hated. What was that more excellent name he inherited? He inherited the name Yasharal before he even knew he inherited the name Yasharal, because where you have power to rule as Elohim. So he has a more excellent name than Esau. Esau hates him for this. Satan hates Yahushua for the fact that he has a more excellent, because we don't even know what Yah's name was in heaven, because you better know that his name was different in heaven. And it's that's why he say he gonna come back with a name which no man would know except the one he given, because the work that he's doing upon his return is different than the work that he did when he came the first time. That's why you hear some dudes be like, that's another reason why I'm not going to argue with a dude about his name or how you spell it, because I know his name is going to change. Because this is only in this culture that you don't name somebody based off of an action. People name their children certain names for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Well, he was given the name of Yahushua because when that's why he told Joseph and Mary what his name was going to be. You're not going to name him. He is my salvation. That is what you're going to call him. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. What his name is in heaven, we'll never know unless he decides to share. You know what I'm saying? It's none of my business. It's none of my concern. You had niggas try to figure that out. I know what his name was in heaven. How you know? You talk to Yahuah, nigga? You got a direct line, he told you? Yeah, reaching for the stars, they turn around and get slapped right upside the head, you big dummy. Nevertheless, he said, for one to which of the Malachim said he at any time, you are my son. This day have I begotten you, and again I will be to him an Abba, and he shall be to me a son. And when he bring the first begotten into the world, he said, let all the Malachim of Elohim worship him. And of the Malachim he say, who make his Malachim ruachs and his ministers a flame of fire. But unto his son he say, your throne, O Elohim, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of your kingdom. You have loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore, Elohim, even your Elohim, have anointed you with the oil of gladness above your fellows. Did he not anoint Jacob with an oil of gladness above his fellow, which would be Esau? Which caused him to hate it. Because why? Because Hashatan wants everything that Yahusha has, the same way that Esau wanted everything that Jacob has. When we look at what Satan tempted Yahusha with, what did he tempt him with? Rule, riches, and to advance the word before his time, or to be self-willed as he is. Why did he said, what did he ask him to do? Bow down and worship me, and I'll give you all of this. Well, let's go look at it, Luke chapter 4, because that's all Pan out here doing now. Yeah, Jay-Z got $1 billion. Y'all only knows what he did to get it. On the left-hand side, you know, certain stuff that were certain people who know him just on natural business, they were like, man, that nigga ain't cool. Because Oskino definitely said that nigga stole Give It To Me from him. He said that was his song. He said that was his beat, his hook, all that. And he said that nigga ain't give him no royalty points or nothing. You know what I'm saying? But he's like this here, some people believe he stole young Chris Flo and then blackballed him from the industry where he can't get no money. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I don't know that for a fact because I'm not there, but I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I can say definitely on the flow set. Oh, absolutely. I've listened to young Chris rap. It's definitely elements of his arsenal and Jay-Z music from probably about 2001 to about 2006. Well, I can't count for 2006 because I stopped listening in 2003, and I ain't catch nothing again until about 2015, 16. That's serious. Oh yeah, good long man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of music that nigga made. I still ain't heard. You know what I'm saying? Didn't care to hear it. Shoot, don't care to hear it. Truth be told, for a multitude of reasons. Luke 4:1. It says, Yahushua, being full of the Ruach HaKadosh, returned from Jordan and was led of the Ruach into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. In those days he did eat nothing, and when they were ended, he afterward hungered. The devil said unto him, if you be the son of Elohim, command this stone that it be made. Look at the first thing he come at him. If. You know he the son of Elohim. You wouldn't even come at him with no if you didn't know. Because you want to be the son of Elohim. Because you want that inheritance. It's kind of like the parable that Mashiach gave to the people when he was like, you know what? Here comes his heir. He will not rule over us. See, people get it twisted because people like to make man a little bit more important. Like I heard brother say, there was no rebellion in heaven. Books say differently. You know what I'm talking about? But the rebellion was no other reason than Satan wanted to be the only begotten son. He wanted, and not that he necessarily wanted, he wanted the inheritance. He wanted the blessing. That's what he wanted. And y'all say, I'm not giving you that. That's my son's inheritance. Just like what you told. What did Isaac tell Esau? Esau, I blessed him. And he will be blessed. Whatever you thinking and whatever you got going on. Yahushua answered him, saying, it is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of Elohim. The devil take him up into a high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give you in the esteem for them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will give it, if you therefore will worship me, all shall be yours. Yahushua answered and said unto him, get behind me, Hashatan, for it is written, you shall worship Yahuah your Elohim, and him alone shall you serve. So look at what he was looking for. He was looking for worship or veneration. Again, remember what I told you last night. Getting on your knees is a sign of reverence and worship. This is why he has them do the kiss of shame. You know what I'm saying? Because what did it say they had to do? Get on their knees and then kiss his rectum as a sign of worship. Well, they literally kissing the devil? Probably not. Probably doing warlocks. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they was kissing Satan. Why would an angel want somebody to kiss his butt? I don't know. But I wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe they was kissing Satan on the butt. You know what I'm talking about? But 9 times out of 10, they were kissing dudes right on the butt. And now they taught you to participate in the kiss of shame. You know what I'm saying? And you don't even know it. But the key thing is that Satan is looking for veneration. He's looking for worship. And he tries to work. And remember, this is the honor and the image of the king. So let's go to Daniel 11. Remember, we already talked about Bel and Nebo. And what did it say Bel and Nebo couldn't do? They couldn't carry the burden. And see, what you just mentioned, we already talked about this here, bro. It says that the beast is going to have intelligence with the people. And he's going to try to make a covenant with him. And he's going to have an understanding of dark sentences. So he's going to have this image, my opinion, preaching script, talking to the people. You hear it. Just like say, niggas don't read the book. You got niggas who in the word, claim they in the truth, quote unquote, don't read the book. And if they do read it, they don't read it with understanding. So they have no idea what's going on. 11. I need 11. 11 and 36. We'll grab Thessalonians along with it. It'll be redundant, but we'll do it. It says, and the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers. Remember, we talked about that. And when they use that term, God of your fathers, who does it always refer to as far as his fathers is concerned? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And guess what Esau turned around and what he didn't do? He did not regard the God of his father. What did Isaac instruct him not to do? Don't you go marrying them Canaanite women. What did Esau go do? What got Amaziah in trouble? Because he went to worshiping the idols of Esau. Esau was raised to fear Yahuah from his birth. Don't think that Esau did not know who Yahuah was. Do not think that Esau didn't know the way of Kadash that come from Yahuah. Isaac was his daddy. Paul, look at Genesis 24. Look what he told him to do. He knew, but he wanted to serve a strange God. Oh, a little side. It's unfortunate for you. No, it's Genesis 25. Or is it 26? It's 26. Genesis 26. He said there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. This is 26 and 1. Isaac went unto Amalek, king of the Philistines, under Gerar. Yahuah appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Mizraim, dwell in the land which I shall tell of you. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For unto you and unto your seed will I give these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham your father. And I will make your seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto your seed all these countries. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because that Abraham obeyed my voice, kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws, and Isaac dwelt in Gerar. So what can we take from that? If that same covenant was promised to Jacob, then you know what did Isaac do? He kept the word too. He can't bless him with a covenant that he's not obeying, but you already know that Isaac obeyed because he went and dwelt in the exact place where Yahuah told him to go. So this is dealing you with Esau. Esau was raised in a household to fear Yahuah, and he despised it because why? He wanted to be in the honor and the image of the king. This is another reason why it says, there's going to be destruction to the workers of iniquity, because we're not going to read the book of Obadiah, but you can go read the book of Obadiah on your own time, and you see what the end is for Esau. But the way of Yahuah is strength. We see that Jacob got the strength because he got the strength of the covenant to actually be in the honor and image of the king. Not to be around here with Baal Bereth, to be the Lord of the covenant, because the adversary is coming to make a covenant with people through the beast. Remember, everything that all these things do is just mimicking the battle between the wicked and the righteous, like we read in Malachi last night when we talk about, the memory of the just is blessed. The memory of Jacob is blessed. You know who Jacob is. It's a good memory too, at least in heaven anyway. Some people on the earth feel like Jacob was an evil dude. He tricked his brother. He did this here. No, my thoughts are not your thoughts, saith Yahuah. And my ways are not your ways, saith Yahuah. He says the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways and my thoughts higher than yours. However, he wanted to give Jacob the blessing is his prerogative. What people fail to realize and how Yahuah did it is it exposed the heart that Esau had. I want the blessing and inheritance without actually doing the work. You know what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of people are in this world right now. You want what Yahuah has to give, but you don't want to do the work necessary in order to receive it. So how do you expect to achieve that? You will not. Don't work that way. Verse 37, Daniel chapter 11. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his state shall he honor the God of forces, a God whom his fathers knew not. Shall he honor with gold, silver, with precious stones and pleasant things. He gonna give homage to Satan. We already know that Revelation 13 say who gave the beast his power? The serpent. That's why I say the God of forces. We can look and see what forces is, but that's what they came with. What that movie is? Star Wars. That's what they told you, right? Let the what be with you. Say, let the force be with you. Wondering what force he talking about. I don't want nothing to do with that force. They might be trying to force something on you ain't ready for. In multiple different areas. And that's just strength of power, I believe. Mayos, I'm familiar with this word. No, it said this is meaning that the God of safety and refuge, a stronghold. So he said he gonna actually convince people that this man is a place of refuge. He say, thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, he shall divide the land for gain. That's a little ugly right there. Because this is all in his veneration to get Satan esteem. Because Satan wants that. He wants. Now let's look at 2 Corinthians 11, right? And again, this is about what these two guys' name is again, man. This is all about when the Avites made for Nebaz and the Severites burnt their children in fire to Amdrelech and Amalek, the gods of Sepharad. That's the honor of the king and the image of the king. So at the end of the day, Satan wants to be a representation. And notice that he said he lifted himself up above all gods. Because he know that all of them are false. Remember, and we'll look at 2 Corinthians 4 on top of us. But hold on. 2 Corinthians 11. 2 Corinthians 11 and 10. 2 Corinthians 11 and 10. As the truth of Hamashiach is in me, no man shall stop me of this boasting in the regions of Achaia. Wherefore, because I love you not, Elohim know. But what I do, that I will do, that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion, that wherein they esteem they may be found even as we. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. So remember, we have to look at something in two areas, maybe even three. It says that the man of sin will have intelligence with the people, which means he will do what? He will teach the people. Who's giving him his power? Satan is giving him his power. So then the beast would be looking as what? As to be an apostle of Satan. Because who is teaching him? Satan. Well, what does it say he have the ability to understand? Dark sentences. Now, all of these things he's doing to be and remember, we talked about that. He said, ain't no light in the devil in John 8:44, right? So he's coming to pretend to be like, it's a lot of niggas touch the word. Oh, that nigga ain't got it. I'm a real servant. I'm a true servant, a true moray, all that type of stuff. Man, you ain't never walk around and see Yahushua tell nobody he was true nothing. He either say you either believe me or you don't. You know what I'm saying? It's not my job to convince. It was that not his attitude. It was only a hand, and even still he would ask us, and only time he would ask anybody who he was his apostles. He said, who do people say I am? You think he was asking them that because he cared what the people were talking about? He ain't ever tell them who he was. Remember when he opened the eyes of the blind dude didn't even know who he was. When he slid back around, he said, you believe on the Son of God? He said, yeah, take me to him. He said, you looking at it. And he did that for a reason. You know what I'm talking about? And that was more so to let Cuz know. Because he already knew what Cuz was going through. You know what I'm talking about? But when you look at, what I was trying to think of. But when you look at like when he asked his apostles, he was trying to see had his father had showed them that and what they were saying. Peter the one stood up and said it. That's why he blessed him. But he didn't care what people thought about him. He didn't care what people said who he was. He was unconcerned with that. But you see Hebrews now. I'm a righteous man. I'm a true moray. Who you trying to convince? Us or yourself? You know what I'm saying? Because nigga, I don't care. If you doing the work, it's gonna show. When niggas always talking about look at the fruit, look at the fruit. You didn't see Yahushua walk around talking about look at his fruit. You know what I'm saying? But do you see him doing that? Wasn't no need for him to do that. Why? Because he moved just like our father Jacob moved. My righteousness will speak for me. I ain't got to do none of that. I'm not finna argue, because at the end of the day, arguing with niggas is feminine. You ain't even see Yahushua arguing with a nigga. He said, you know, they come at him crazy, and he be like, you know what? Answer this button. Or you can't answer that? I ain't gonna answer this here then. He would teach them something. See, there's a difference from arguing with a nigga and teaching them something and going about your business. You know what I'm saying? And he shut them down and they wouldn't have nothing to say. But I'm just mentioning that to show you the mind of Elohim. If you are an apostle of Mashiach and a messenger of light, do you have need to convince somebody that you are light? Because if you have need to convince them, maybe you're not as light as you say you are. Verse 14, and no marvel, for Hashatan himself is transformed into a Malachim of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their work. Well, what is the beast and all his minions going to be doing? Making it look like they're ministers of righteousness, doing on what you talking about because you niggas don't read the book. What did he tell you in Revelation chapter 1? Blessed is he that read and do the words of this prophecy. How can you know what the words say if you don't take the time to look here, right? You know that's what you gather for on a Shabbat for, is to hear the word. But what good is it if you just hear it and you don't seek it out on your own time? Because there's going to come a time where there'll be a famine in the land, and you're not going to be able to find the word of Yahuah. And because you didn't take the time to seek it out for yourself, you didn't lay it up in your heart. I ain't talking about reading script for the sake of reading script. I'm talking about taking it and laying it up in your heart. That script go with you wherever you go, that you don't have to have this with you. And it's not about knowing what book, chapter, and verse it is, because they didn't have chapters and verses. You know what I'm saying? They just had book. So they just would have been as the prophet said. That's what you need to be concerned about. Don't be concerned about can you locate it. That's not your job. So that's none of your concern. Your concern is, do you hear it? Do you believe it? Did you lay it up? And do you live by it? That's all you need to be concerned with. The word will take care of itself after that. All the manifestation of any fruit that come from the word of Elohim will be produced. Whether it be long suffering, whether it be self-control, whether it be love, whether it be joy, whether it be peace, whether it be faith, whether it be meekness, it's going to produce itself because the word is in you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to get on your phone and be like this here. Hold on, let me pull that verse up real quick. What you doing all that for? You need to look at your phone when you're in a situation where the word ought to be applied. You need to go grab a Bible and look at it and see what I need to do. You need crib notes. You need to write it on your hand. It should be written right here. You shouldn't have to go through all that. Shouldn't have to go through all that. Come over here to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Because the brother asked me that earlier today, and I'm like, it's no magic formula. He was like, how do I get rid of this and get rid of that? Purge it out. There's no magic formula. You know what I'm saying? Renew your mind. Think get a different result. Do different things, you'll get a different result. You think like a sinner, you're going to move like a sinner. You think like a loser, you're going to move like a loser. You have to change the way that you think. You know what I'm saying? And that's mainly so forth when you run across adversity. See, if you change the way you think when you run across adversity, you'll react different. If you still think in a negative fashion when you run across adversity, then you're going to respond to the adversity negatively. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to overcome it or persevere and push through it because your mind frame and your thought process is drastically different. If you're thinking in a different fashion, in a positive fashion, when you face adversity, you may be frustrated, you may be flustered, but then you look at it and say, what is it that I must do to overcome that? Or as you always tell individuals, what is it that you're supposed to be learning from this said situation so you can realize how to overcome that and then take that and apply it and persevere and endure through what you're going through. Because all adversity is just to test your mettle and your wherewithal to do you really want to achieve what it is that you say that you want. You know what I'm saying? If it was easy, then everybody would achieve their goals. There's obstacles. The obstacles bring out your character. That's why he said, you know what I'm saying? That's why he said, everybody who entered the kingdom of Shamahim will endure tribulation. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be things you have to overcome. You'll be better for it when it's finished. That's why he said, no correction seemed joyous at the time, but grievous. At the end is the yielding of the peaceable fruit of righteousness. So there's going to be a benefit from it. But we live in a society that you're taught to run away from adversity and to respond to adversity in a negative fashion. Some people have it innately in them that they're just strong, so they can deal with it. But it's also a learned trait. You can be taught that. Most of us are not taught that. So you face adversity, you don't know how to handle it. Very well. I already had that. He just felt like letting me know the library closed at 6 o'clock. That was very nice of you. I mean, because the reason why I mention that, because when you look at what Yahushua went through to get to the point of resurrecting from the dead, there were a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of tribulation. It's a lot of things that. Why do you think he said, "He that endured to the end, the same shall be saved"? So that means that there's going to be obstacles. You know what I'm saying? And if you allow those obstacles, you can't allow what happens to you to define you. You have to allow how you respond to it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a hallmark of just a different way of thinking, especially with our people, because we've been taught to be victims and to think like victims. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a ruling class mentality. Indeed, Trina, indeed. You know what I mean? Like, you have to really, if we talk about being in the honor and the image of the king. Matter of fact, let me come over here to Ecclesiastes chapter. I know I mentioned Ecclesiastes 7. Clearly, we're not going to get to it today. But just come over here to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. What did the Mashal tell you? He told you take up your what? What he told you to take up? And do what with it? Follow him. So that means to walk in his image so you can receive his honor. Because he said, wherever I am, my servant will be also. And he's saying, whosoever honor me, my Father will honor. But I just want to read something in Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Because again, the way of Yah is strength. Because what is the way of Yah? Yahushua said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. What is your strength? Trust in Yahuah. That's everlasting strength. Well, your trust in Yahuah will bring forth the joy of Yahuah. Because that, man, let me tell you something, right? I would hope y'all should be able to see that, looking through all these idols, that would confirm to you, if it hadn't been confirmed already, that Yahuah is the true Ibn Elohim, and that he actually does exist and sits in Shamahim upon his throne and does as he pleases. You know what I'm saying? Because all these things these people are doing is confirmation that Yahuah is the living Elohim if you have the proper perspective to look at it in that fashion. Yeah, nigga might climb out some of the crazy stuff these people got going on, but at the same token, it confirms Yahuah is real. It confirms that Yahushua is his anointed one. And it confirms he will stand upon the earth on the latter day, and all those who are in him and of him will be with him and rejoice at his presence and dwell with him forever, while the wicked, which we didn't get to today, will be at the place of Tophet, or the place of fire, where they may burn. Since you want to give children to Molech and Amdrelech and Amalek, because you want to be in the honor and the image of the king. And what is that pointing to? Giving these people over to these deities? Because if you don't want to worship the beast, he ain't going to burn you. But guess what he going to do? He going to kill you. Because you don't want to do it, because you don't want to honor the image of the king, because the beast is in the image of the adversary. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's important for you to know your Elohim, because then no one can come with another deity and deceive you with it. That's why I used to laugh when I used to see them niggas. Y'all niggas get on this bureaucratic. Why y'all niggas deal with them? Put it down. Nigga, his scholar's been in this 30, 40 years. And he's stupid. The book tell you, he said he will confound the wisdom of the wise. So nigga, I don't care if that nigga got a PhD, that nigga got a PhD and done it. You know what I'm talking about? Because at this point, you gonna tell me that another man who taught another man, absence of any spirit of Yahuah, can tell me about a person they don't believe in? How can you teach me about somebody you don't believe in? How can you teach me about somebody you don't follow? How can you do that? That's like me saying I can teach a woman how to be a woman. I can't teach you how to be the. I've never dealt with a menstrual cramp before a day in my life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's like to carry no child. It's just like the reverse. How could a woman tell a man she could teach a man how to be a man? That is impossible, because she's not a man. And then we talked about this before. A woman can't raise a man to be functional on average. On average, you're going to be dysfunctional if a woman raised you. You know what I'm saying? On average. You know what I'm talking about? That doesn't mean every man who got raised by his mama is going to be dysfunctional. But we all know enough niggas who was raised by their mama to know more often than not that this nigga is going to be dysfunctional in some area. You know what I'm talking about? And that's not his fault, so to speak, because he didn't ask to be here, and he didn't ask his mother to procreate with whoever she procreated with. Whether that be the man's fault or whether that be the woman's fault. Because I just seen dudes arguing about this here. Talking about, the women bitter because men treated them wrong. And in my personal opinion, that's simple. Because that takes the responsibility and onus off this woman for fooling with this nigga in the first place. You know what I'm talking about? Because a lot of women get fooled over niggas because you're grown, you're hot in the tail. You know what I'm talking about? Because every woman ain't just, okay, I was a good woman, I had a dumb nigga. Some of these hoes out here tooting and booting, and then they do me so wrong. Well, you slept with 13 niggas in 3 weeks. What you thought was gonna happen? Well, you know hoes like that. Everybody in here know women like that sleep with a whole bunch of niggas and then say men ain't about nothing. They do me wrong. You did yourself wrong, ho. And I ain't got no shame. I don't feel nothing for you. Shoot, I know women who do that in 1 week. Shoot, we know some women done that in 1 day. In one sitting. Like, come on, man. How you gonna talk about she got bitterness in her heart and she got 4 kids from 4 different niggas? Come on, man. I know a chick got 8 kids from 9, like 7 dudes. She might be at 9 now. That's why I said 9. Last time I seen her, I think she was at 8. I think she just had enough. My homeboy used to date a chick. She was 9 for 9. No, I was thinking because she had 9, so I had it back. You know what I'm saying? I think she just had a 9. The last time I seen her, she had 8. Somebody might have double dipped. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta be like the fourth or fifth nigga.
And you hit her raw. She around here with a 4-pack. You know what I'm talking about? She got a 4 for 4 from Wendy's, and you say, I'm going to slide in the raw. Come on, man. At that point, if I walked up on you and you told me I got 4 kids from 4 different, it was nice meeting you today. You know, you and your children have a blessed life. Because I'm good. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because now the reason why I say that, just to the mind frame that I had before the work, that's not worth the trouble. Because I don't want to be number 5. No, that's not worth the trouble. You know what I'm saying? Nigga don't care if you got no kid, but once you start 12 in the range, you got 4 packs and 5, you know what I'm saying? And you around here double nickeling it like Michael Jordan. You got a 5 for 5, 5 for 5. Come on, man.
You jump 1 to 6.
Yeah, that's reckless vagina. You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing with that. That's what that is, though. You reckless with your vagina, baby. You toss that thing around. And just like that mean the other day, and I know people who do this, and people teach people to do this. You break up with somebody, and then you messing with somebody else. This is how you forget them, girl. Get you a new nigga. No, she's a whore. She's telling you to be a whore. You know what I'm saying? Don't listen to her. Straight up.
Get under somebody else or get over somebody.
I know it. She's telling you to be a whore. That's the sure-wire way to forget somebody. Get another penis. That'll sure work. It never works. Do you know what I'm talking about? It never works. Because that's how you end up with, quote-unquote, 3-4 booze in 1 year. You're a whore. You're a whore. Just tell it like it is. She's a whore. See, that's what these dudes won't stand out and do in this day and time. You're a whore. You don't know my life. Clearly, I do know it. You're a whore. That much I do know. Well, how was this? And I'm sad that happened to you. What that got to do with your vagina now? That ain't got nothing to do with it. You can't be with a nigga and then talking about you moved another nigga in 3 weeks after this nigga left. You know what I'm talking about? You just broke up with this nigga. You got another penis in your mouth. The nigga just left 3 days ago. I don't know what her problem is. She went around like she got ants on her. Nevertheless, I don't even know where I was at. Oh yeah, please ask the time. Which one? Which one? I don't remember being honest to you. That's Ecclesiastes 2:12. We got to get ready to get up out of here anyway. He said, I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can a man do that come after the king, but even that which have already been done? That's all you can do. If you coming after the king, you can't do nothing but what the king already done. And if the king has endured tribulation, persecution, sufferings, then guess what you got to do? Take up your stake and follow him. That's why Yahuah told you that. Verse 12, Ecclesiastes 2:12. That's something that we done went over in the past. Video named the exact same thing. I can't do nothing but what come after the king. So all this is just showing you is how to model yourself after the Lord. You follow in his footsteps. If you want to get the way he going, then you have to take on his image to get his honor. Well, see, remember what it said about Baal and Nebo. He don't want to take that on. But let me get Marmaduke before we get up out of here, because I got 20 minutes. Jeremiah 50. That didn't go how you planned it. And I'll let y'all know, because we're probably going to go through Jeremiah 50 and 51. I haven't done it in a long time. But Jeremiah 50 and 51 goes over Babylon. A lot of what's in Jeremiah 50 and 51 is in the book of Revelation. You know what I'm saying? The concept of come out of my people does not come from the book of Revelation. It comes from the book of Jeremiah. That's where it was first uttered. You know what I'm saying? And the initial statement was dealing when they were in Babylon, literally. You know, a lot of people believe America is Babylon. I'm not one of those people. I believe the whole world is Babylon the whole time. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the whole world is in a state of confusion. I also know, looking at the text, that when things go down, it will not go down in the Western Hemisphere. That's for certain. Jeremiah 50:1. The word that Yahuah spake against Babylon, against the land of Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations and publish, set up a standard, publish, conceal. Look what he told them to do. What did he tell them to do? Publish it. He told them, don't you hide it. And when he talking about a standard, that's lifting up an ensign, lifting up a banner. So what he telling you to do? Lift up the Lord. Let them know about Yahuah, by Hashem Yahushua. Don't hold it back now. Go on and tell them, because they need to know. I'm going to give you the word for publish real quick. Publish is, guess what? Shema. Better tell them, go ahead and hear. Go ahead and hear. Declare is Nagad, which is to tell and to make known or announce or make the report. Say Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, Medorak is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. Well, Medorak means rebellious. That's what it means. Literally means your rebellion. This is the chief Babylonian deity. Means to be rebellious. What is the beast going to be out here teaching? To be rebellious. Now, Marduk was the chief Babylonian deity during the time of Nebuchadnezzar. What did Nebuchadnezzar set up? An idol that everybody in his dominion had to bow down and worship. And really, that idol may have been Nebuchadnezzar, but it was really good old Marduk. And worship him. And was teaching them to do that. Now, this is a Mesopotamian deity. He was the national god of Babylon. Sometimes he was just simply called Baal. That's why you see Baal and Marduk mentioned together. Absolutely. I don't disagree in the least. He says that he is the monster of primal chaos. So Marduk is a god of chaos or a god of disorder. Yeah, he's equated to Jupiter. Oh, it's definitely the same. Ain't no difference. He is the king of the gods, and he was elevated. Listen what it said, right? He was elevated to this position during a great battle between the forces of the older gods and those of their children. So Greek mythology, but also the mimicking of what the text say. Text say that there was a great war in heaven between Satan and his rebels and Michael. Difference is Satan didn't win. You know what I'm saying? All because he wants to have that honor and image, because he want to be that. He want to be the son. He wants y'all to worship him. But you know why nobody can't worship Satan? Nobody can't worship the devil? Because Satan only can bring death, because that's the only thing he got power over. And then Yahushua took that back. Yahushua got power over life. You know what I'm saying? But we got to slide up out of here. Yahuah willing, we'll keep this rolling as far as with this particular part of the play. But so hallelujah for Yahushua. But what we're looking at, if y'all can see it, is the parallel between Jacob and Esau and Yahushua and the adversary. Because at the end of the day, the beast through the adversary is trying to get the same honor that Yahushua got from his father. And you have to be careful for that, because that's what the beast is going to be teaching. What did Yahushua teach you to do? To walk in the honor and image of the king. We can go through all the gospels and see that's what he taught. But the adversary is going to come through and seek to do the same thing. So I bless all y'all at the house of y'all name of Yahushua. I appreciate everybody and their time. Who are willing, we pick it up next week. Keep it rolling and flowing. Till that time, I bid you adieu. Yeah, to an extent. Scared a nigga who don't know.